everyone, welcome back to Poppin In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Molly.
And I'm Alexa.
And we have a lot to discuss today. We were just talking about how at work today I was literally shaking like a little pop culture chihuahua because so many things were coming in all day, pop culture related, that I just I couldn't sit at my desk anymore. Like I had to talk about it. And so here we are.
You were texting me about it, and what you know was like at the point in the day where I was like, I am a zombie. I think I'm gonna walk into the woods and like disappear.
Yeah.
And then I had a coffee, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The miracle of caffeine.
There just were so many things coming in, through the news today that I just was like, I just have a lot to talk about.
It feels very distracting.
Yeah.
But that's fine because whatever. It's the holidays. Like, we're not working.
Literally,
we're just girls.
I sent a gift today at work and it got a lot of reactions, but it was like,
oh, that's the
yes,
key.
it's
Yes,
the best.
Standing ovation.
The best.
That's your Cannes Film Festival.
But it was like, who wants to work in December? Because there was so much PTO. Like everybody, like we were tracking like who's on PTO in the next like week or whatever, and I was like, who wants to work in December? One
thing I hate is when I always say, like, at work, I'm like, I'm free if anyone needs help, to, like, be nice, and then someone's like, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't mean it. He's like, I don't want to help you, but I guess I did put it out there, didn't I? Oopsies. But, so the first thing we want to get into, I actually don't know that much about this topic, so I'm, like, ready for you to take me on, because I know about, like, up until this moment. And I know like a little bit from what we got together. We had a little girls' night on Saturday with friend of the pod, Megan. And we played Pop Culture Jeopardy, by the way. If you guys haven't, I don't want this show to go off the air, so go and watch it. It's like regular Jeopardy, but pop culture, if you didn't get that from the name.
One thing I'm confused about, does it air on something? Because it's just on Amazon. Like the whole season is on Amazon. So I'm like not sure if it's actually, like I think it just...
I don't know.
Streams on Amazon.
I don't know how cable works, so I don't really know.
Well, you know, like what channel does Jeopardy come on? I feel like you know that because
Chris
Jeopardy.
Records it. It's like channel 10. Whatever that means for you all.
CBS? Okay, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
But I was just gonna say I want to go on because the thing is, like, even ones that like I didn't know, like you knew, like I feel like there's. Like, I think we would kill it.
We need a diverse team.
And also the teams that were on there, I mean, we only watched the first episode, but the teams that were on there, I didn't like their names. They weren't fun. They were lame.
Obviously, ours would be Poppin In.
Yeah, and we'd have cute shirts. We wouldn't be wearing flannel shirts.
Yeah, exactly. And we would be really cute in general. So, like, if you guys think we should go on Pop Culture Jeopardy,
let us know.
Let us know. Let them know.
Let Colin Jost know.
Yeah, go to their Instagram, go to their whatever.
Let Scarlett Johansson know.
Yeah, if you don't know, they're married. I didn't know that until Saturday, which is crazy.
What?
And that's how we fill in each other's pop culture gaps.
That's, like, they're one of my favorite couples ever.
I love that for you, but that's how we fill it in, you know? There are certain things where we both know a lot about, and then there are certain things where it's like, definitely these are our niches.
I feel like you're best at, like hip-hop singers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, hip-hop artists, I think, that's, like, one of your biggest niches. Whereas, like, I'm sometimes not as great at that.
I feel like
I don't know names as well.
I feel like I'm good at, like, older pop culture
That's
a little
what,
bit.
yeah, like a little bit, yeah.
Because I feel like you're more, like, Gen Z cusp, and I feel like I'm more like,
and you know, like 90s hip-hop artists.
And we learned at trivia last week the periodic table.
Okay, I also think like we killed it at the chemical elements.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I know. I was just gonna say, I feel like we killed it at like the chemistry round, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, I was like, tungsten, hell yeah.
No one knows what we're talking about, and everyone's gonna get bored. Please stay with us. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we started on this because we
want to talk about Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes, exactly.
So they broke up.
Boo.
So Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter have split, which is very sad. Although, okay, first of all, I do want to start out by saying I felt like they were a publicity stunt. I felt like they were kind of at some point sort of trying to be in like kind of be like a junior Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, because he would like come to her concerts. But honestly, other than the concerts and the Met Gala, like one time he came with her to the Met, I think last year. I never saw them together other than that. So I'm like, what is... Oh, and then obviously the Please, Please, Please music video.
Yeah.
But other than that, I never saw them... Like, it... they weren't really that public, I felt.
Can I be honest? I feel like a lot of celebrity couples are kind of like this, where it's just like they probably don't see each other for huge chunks of time.
I know.
It's like he's filming things, she's recording, touring, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not to say like long distance relationships aren't real, but it was just like, not only is it long distance, but like you are the biggest stars in the world, so like you're super busy. Like, how much time and effort are you able to even put into a relationship, much less the fact that you're long distance?
I do think about that often. Like, I think about that with like Tom Holland and Zendaya, because I'm like, how often do the two of them actually see each other?
I think it must be. I see a lot of paparazzi photos of them all the time, but I think he works his schedule around hers more.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Although he was in Romeo and Juliet, and I felt like she was always in the car when he would come out.
Yeah, she definitely, like, her outfits for like the premiere of that were like overshadowing him being in the play. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
She looked really good. But anyways, so they've been together since when? I want to say like about a year.
I want to say about a year. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't know, I think they are having like apparently amazing sex based on all the songs she's written. I'm like, damn. Okay.
Yeah. And so again, like, I kind of felt like they were a publicity stunt a little bit, but again, like, what stunt? Because they're not that public.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's a little
real.
hidden. They don't really talk about each other too much. He would comment on her Instagram photos, but like, other than that, like, just not a lot. Well, just to kind of give some background, Barry has a son.
Yeah.
With somebody who he's no longer with, obviously. And so a lot of people, when they were together, he got a lot of shit for basically being like an absent father, which I don't really understand how people can comment on that, because you don't know him. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you don't know what time he's
And I guess I do get
son.
a little defensive of him, because I'm actually a pretty big fan of his work. Like, I love I think he's an amazing actor, and I love his movies. And so sometimes I'm also Sabrina was my top song. Like, so I'm a fan of both, but I will say I think between the two of them, I don't want to say I'm a bigger fan of his, but like I feel like I know more about him than I know about her.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
I feel the opposite.
Well, I think I'm more invested in him than I am in her, which that might be controversial, but it's just because I've never been super into singers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You're more
I
of a
love
film
songs,
person.
but I don't obsess over singers.
Yeah.
The way that I obsess over actors.
Yeah.
And so I loved the two of them together, but I feel like I was like, like, I just get defensive when people like are attacking him as a parent. I'm like, you don't know him. What are you talking about?
I feel like I get defensive in general of when couples break up and we attack, unless it's like literally like one has been clearly like abusive or whatever.
Yeah.
When we attack one over the other, because it's like you don't know what's going on in a relationship. It's all hearsay. It's all he said, she said. And you're going to like ruin a person's career and their life and their personal family life and all of that.
And so when they split up, he actually he posted on Instagram, because we read it like when he posted it. He was basically like, everyone needs to had a lot of grammatical errors, but he was like, everyone needs to stop, because like I guess people were coming to like his.
It was a long post.
His like I think he mentioned like they were coming to like his grandmother's house or something.
Yeah,
like it was
I think
like
they
something
were like outside of his kid's daycare or something like that.
Yeah, just crazy stuff. Like, again, you're crazy, and that's where it starts to get like.
Oh, and saying that his son was like a crack baby or something like that. Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, and it's just, and Barry Keoghan has always been kind of open about his like past. Like, he had sort of a rough upbringing, I think.
Yeah, because he was in the foster care system for his whole life, I think.
Yeah, and so
in Ireland.
Which
I know it's not great in America, so I don't know what it's like in Ireland, but I imagine.
I have no idea. But I just know that he didn't have, and again, that's also why I'm a little defensive of him too, because like I feel like he's come from. Like his come up has been like pretty great. Like he's an amazing actor. He's to me always very like he's always stood out to me in everything he's in. So I'm just like, I'm a fan of his. And so it just like, it bothers me. And I don't know what he's like in his personal life. He may be a bad father. I don't know that. Yeah. Maybe he was bad to like his previous girlfriend, but
that's his personal
life. And this is the problem with having these like parasocial relationships is like you also don't know Sabrina.
Yeah. You don't know what went on.
Why are you that? It's crazy to me. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. It's so crazy to me when people are so obsessed with somebody and like over the top defensive and like death threats to people who broke up with them, blah, blah, over somebody who does not even know you exist.
Right.
That's wild to me.
I think it's because these parasocial relationships, like, and you can see it sometimes, even now, I think Sabrina Carpenter is becoming one of those things where it's like they have a fandom where people associate the person with themselves. So they are like, I like this person's music, or I like this person's films or whatever, and they're like, this person is me. So therefore, if you fuck with this person, you're fucking with me.
That's true too. I also have a theory that a lot of the time people are like that when they've actually met the celebrity, because sometimes I think there's just like this almost like when you've met them and you've kind of had this like couple minutes of like, I've just noticed because I've seen that a lot of the stans that are like really crazy, and not just her, but like say we're talking about like Selena Gomez or just whoever, I've noticed that it's always people who have like met them, like who have pictures with them. Not always, I mean there's plenty of people who haven't met their favorite celebrity, but I've just noticed like I think there's something different when it's like you've met them and you feel like you've like forged this like connection with them,
and I think
that they don't really have, you know.
It's like we always say, like you have to realize that like these people that we're worshiping are people. Like even like Barry Keoghan or like your favorite actor, like you love them, but if they did something horrible, you'd be like, that's horrible. Or like if they were a bad person, or even if they were just an annoying person, like I can't see you being like, I'm gonna like leave pig's blood outside Sabrina Carpenter's door.
Because guess what? Like they've never met me. Like they don't know me. So like why would I put energy towards like being super crazy to people in their life? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's just so insane.
And you know what? I will say like this is like on a similar but different vein, but it makes me think like, you know, when people become famous, like, you know, Chappell Roan has been talking a lot about like how she didn't realize what it was going to be like, and it's been difficult. And it's like the thing is, you think like fame is all this glory, and it doesn't matter like what the, like if you have a huge fandom or whatever, or just a small fandom, you're putting yourself out there to some potentially scary people, and like your whole life is now just in the perception of the rest of society, you know? So it's like I said, like there were these things where it was like, they were talking about like Ben Affleck and J-Lo. We were talking about this a long time ago where it was like people said Ben Affleck is rude. Like he was like not nice when he stayed in a hotel or something. And I think about like, I'm like, he could have just been having a bad day, but now like that's gotten out there. It affects his like PR or whatever. And I'm not saying you should be mean to people, but imagine like just, you know, I think about like myself who's just like a naturally awkward whatever person, and then that person could misconstrue that as like me being like an asshole.
Exactly.
And then it doesn't matter to me because I'm not famous, but if I were famous, like it gets out there. So I don't know. It's just interesting.
I sometimes feel that way. Like I think that's a little bit of like a case by case basis, because I do think if it's like if multiple people, if that's a you know, repetitive thing, if it's a theme with somebody, then I'm like, nah, that's probably how they are then.
But I think we've gotten to a point in our society where we don't even need a theme. Like we just see it happen once and then it spirals. People just read a headline and then they create their narrative like snowballs into someone else's narrative, and then it becomes like this whole crazy thing. And I think like we've just gotten to a point where it's like it's good to keep our celebrities in check through like this culture that we've canceled, this culture that we've created, but it's also like we have to keep ourselves in check of like, are we doing the fact checking? Are we remembering that these are just people?
Exactly. And so just to give a little bit more background, so they split, and at the same time as them being announced that they're splitting, there was like this rumor that went around that Barry cheated on her with this influencer TikToker named Brecky Hill. And so that was like a whole thing, and people thought, so then that's a big reason of why people were like harassing him and basically like, you know, death threats, and it was crazy. And then it came out that she said she's never even met Brecky Hill. So it's just like, what is this? What?
And it's just like, you're like, you know, everyone is famous on some level now with like the influencer culture. And again, when you start that career, that trajectory, you just have to remember like you're more than ever in the history of like being famous, you're really putting yourself out there to like some crazy people. But she didn't even do anything. Allegedly. I don't really know, but her name's Brecky.
Brecky, Brekkie.
Like the nickname for breakfast?
I have seen people calling her Breakfast Hill, which I think is very funny, but I don't think it's like short for breakfast.
I mean,
it'd be cute though.
Gotta see that birth
Brecky's
certificate.
a very cute name, actually.
Brecky? That'd be cute for like a pet.
So I don't know exactly how. Yes. So I don't know how. Breckenridge. Actually, I mean, that's cute. You can name somebody Aspen. Like, that's a cute name. Yeah. So why not Breckenridge?
Yeah. Her name's Rebrecky.
Rebrecky. Rebreakfast.
Anyways.
So to be honest, like, I actually don't have that much to say about it because there's just not, I mean, who knows? Maybe he did. I don't really know how the rumor got started. I don't know how this girl got wrapped up in it. I don't know if she may have made like some kind of joke post about it and people took it seriously, or maybe it did happen and maybe now Barry's team is like, cease and desist, like stop, say that this didn't happen.
And here's the thing, like, it's all about, people are like, oh, like, how could you cheat on what, like, even when like the whole Jay-Z Beyonce thing happened, it's like, how could you cheat on Beyonce? Like, how could you cheat on Sabrina Carpenter? And it goes to show that kind of like behavior, if that did happen or whatever, is more about like the person who is doing the cheating than it is like the other, like, usually like the other person.
Right.
And I was gonna say also, like, I remember when her Please 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 music video, if you don't know, has Barry Keoghan in it, and basically the whole song is like saying like, please don't embarrass me because like you kind of have shitty behavior.
Yeah.
And people were joking, they're like, I mean, she did make a video about this, but I remember at the time we were like, is it cringe that she put him in in the video.
Yeah.
And some people said yes. I would say no, though, because it's still kind of iconic. Like, they were together.
It's still iconic. And I mean, what, like, yeah, so later on, people are going to look at that music video and be like, I mean, Christy Brinkley was in Billy Joel's Uptown Girls music video. They're not together anymore.
And that's why we would do so well in pop culture trivia, or Jeopardy, because I have no idea, like, anything you just said.
Oh, yeah.
And there we go. Yeah. That's why we're a winning team. Girl. Aw, cute. Yeah. And he was her please, please, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think they were, like, a real couple. They seemed like they genuinely... I think the couples that you don't see a lot of them usually are more,
no, totally.
Genuine, because they're just spending time together. They're wanting it to keep like, stay private.
I was more like a realization I had today where I was just kind of like, I don't really feel like I've seen them that much. Like, I swear they never, like, took pictures together or anything.
Yeah.
So it's very hidden. I think in some ways that is a publicity stunt on its own because it's like, oh, it's generating, like, talk. And then people are wanting to, like, listen to her music to see if they're going to. And also, apparently she has a song. I heard this. She has a song coming out in January about him.
Oh,
so I'm like, that's where I sometimes think, I'm like, okay, are we sort of now getting into, like, I don't know. Like, is this alone a publicity stunt? I don't know. But I don't think it is because I do think, like, he wouldn't allow, like, I don't think he actually likes people harassing him and attacking him. Right. So.
But I also think, like, the separation that they had seemingly in their relationship may have been, like, smart as a career move on both their parts. Because the thing is, when two famous people date, like, you're going to be intertwined, but you really don't want your career to be that intertwined. Like, imagine, like you and Matthew or me and Chris, like, okay, we are, like, intimate relationships revolve on them, but imagine it's, like, also our careers.
Yeah.
Like, if something happened with them, it'd be like, not only would you lose your partner, now your career is in jeopardy. Yeah. So I think, like, it's good to keep that separation, because if you're too public, you're too intertwined, it's gonna cause too many opinions, it's gonna get toxic, and then you're gonna break up, and then it's gonna affect you in every part of your life, not just like, oh, I've lost my partner type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just curious to see, like, who they date next, because they're both hot commodities.
They are. And that's the thing, too, is I know people are attacking him and, like, oh, and they may just not know really him. I mean, I doubt a lot of Gen Zs that love Sabrina are watching, like, Killing of a Sacred Deer, you know? But, like,
you never know.
You never know. I'm not saying they're not
out here.
They are. A lot of cinephiles. I don't know. But
cinephiles sounds bad.
Cinephiles?
I mean, I know it is like a movie fanatic, but just like, I guess the word file.
File
really has a negative.
Well, a file is just when you're into something, I think. When you know a lot about something.
What's
I don't know.
the line from Succession? Like, the church really fucked it up for us or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll cut
what
that.
I was gonna say was but at this, I mean, my thing is, like, he's like an Oscar nominated actor. He's also he's also good. Like, I would say that she was also lucky to have him too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but that's just me. I feel like, and again, I am a fan of her, but I'm just saying, like, let's not like attack this man. He's also he's pretty good at what he does. Like, somebody would be lucky to have him too. That's me not knowing who he is as a real person. I think he's I've always felt like he's pretty real with who he is though, because the whole please thing was him. He's like a fighter. He's like an Irish fighter, and like
the fact that he signed up to be like, I'll do this video in which you're like basically saying like, please don't embarrass me, you drunk idiot.
I think
like
he knows that there's some kind of like hotness to it though.
Yeah,
like I think he thinks
he's like a bad boy.
I've seen him in interviews, and he knows he's a bad boy. Like I know he's like very like he reminds me of. I think I've said this before on the podcast, but he reminds me of like who Colin Farrell used to be.
Interesting.
Like, how Colin Farrell used to be like the Irish bad boy before he like kind of got his life together. I feel like that's Barry Keoghan now. Barry's just going through that.
What country do you think pumps out the best bad boys?
Ireland. No, but I don't.
I mean, Tommy Shelby, a great bad boy.
Yeah. Or I would say like. Because I don't think there's anything, like, cool about, like, American bad boys, whereas I feel like English bad boys is, like...
Because it's, like, American, but, like, not.
It's kind of what we talked about with Emily previously, about One Direction, how, like...
Oh, yeah.
One Direction had, like, the, who is it, Zayn the bad boy, I guess? Yeah. Like, it's just that kind of, like, vibe, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like Ireland really pumps them out. You don't hear a lot of Scottish bad boys. You don't hear a lot about the Scots in general.
But, yeah, I feel like I do.
Like who?
I know McGregor,
Outlander. Okay,
and James McAvoy. Those are two of like my favorites.
But are these bad boys? I don't think Ian McGregor is a bad boy. But
no, but
I don't know. And the thing is, like, and it's very distinct because think of like a French bad boy. A French bad boy is just kind of like, in my mind, maybe like an effeminate asshole. Do you know what I mean? I was gonna
say, please, like in French.
You know what I mean? A German bad boy just sounds like a bad person.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something. Like, if someone was like, he's a German bad boy, I don't know.
You're not going to get, like, an Icelandic bad boy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they're just trying to stay warm.
A Swedish bad boy?
Okay. I feel like they're on drugs.
Yeah, I'm picturing, like, a Skarsgård.
Yeah. Where they're, like, they're not, like, a typical...
But, like, Lucas Madsen. So it's, like, kind of, like... on drugs, like scary.
You're not gonna like ride on the back of their motorcycle, but you are gonna be taken to like maybe the cave that they live in somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Where they're just like they're like the quirky bad boy.
The American bad boy would be like a motorcycle. I guess that is like a thing.
I feel like Irish bad boy is like, I'm gonna slam this alcohol bottle into a wall. French bad boy is like, the baguettes, they aren't like cooked well enough, you know? We're offending so many cultures.
And they're like smoking a cigarette.
I feel like what do you say, Switzerland? Where are they
Swedish
from?
Bad.
Swedish bad boy is like...
They're like,
I'm just a little bit of a weirdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't, that's all the cultures I got right there.
Yeah.
There's so many. Canadian bad boy. Can you imagine?
Oh, there's no Canadian bad boy.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I want to break up with you, please.
Yeah. please.
Yeah. But anyway, so I guess that brings us to our question of the week.
What is the craziest celebrity breakup?
Oh, yes. And as I say every week, if you want to answer, we put a question of the week up every week. If you want to answer, go to our Instagram at Poppin In Podcast and answer our questions. And if it's good enough, we might say it on here.
Yeah.
We might just,
yeah. So should we do ours first? Or should we do... Okay.
What is the craziest breakup? Okay. Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I think, like, what really stands out to me, what I think about a lot, is Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. That was devastating for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was listening to an AI video about how apparently both of them smell bad.
That's not true.
Who knows? But I could see it.
I refuse to believe that. But do you remember, like, so the situation with that, again, that could have been also a huge publicity stunt, but they were together.
Yeah.
And
I think it was a publicity stunt.
Yeah. Knowing both of them now, I feel like it was. But she cheated on him with
The
director of Snow White and the Huntsman, who was actually a pretty hot man.
But he was married.
And she was like, was he married?
I think so.
Well, she cheated on Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
It's just wild. But and then that was like a huge thing. They broke up and it was pretty crazy.
That was a crazy time. I feel like that was like the start of fandoms being like, wow, this couple.
Our Pats and Case do.
Yeah. Also, like, not saying that they are smelly people, but do you think if two smelly people date, do you think they realize,
it's triggering me.
Do you think they realize each other smells bad? Or do you think they're just like, this is how I live? I personally don't find myself.
Why do you think they smell bad? You've never
because
heard
an AI
before.
video on the internet told me so. I'm not saying like they smell bad, but like I'm just thinking of smelly couples in general.
Please stop.
Do you think like they know that each other smells, or are they just like, this is our natural like romantic scent?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure they bathe and smell fine.
I
don't trust
AI.
I
think that they do.
Yeah.
I think they do. They both look like clean people.
Yeah. But my couple...
I heard Jake Gyllenhaal smells really bad. I heard he doesn't bathe.
I've heard Post Malone smells horrible.
I have heard that too. I once heard somebody like gagged in his presence, like when they like...
Yeah.
I don't know if that was true, but they like gagged.
We're probably reading like the same Reddit post or something.
I've heard that before though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that, again, if we've both heard it, then it means it's true.
There are like some people, like some actors or people in general,
nice.
like I just look at and I'm like, you seem like you would be a sweaty person. And I texted you about an actor the other day. I won't say their name.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it.
I mean, go ahead, whatever.
Well, wait, hold on. No,
I can't remember. Paul Mescal.
He does look sweaty. Oh, I want to talk about him. Well, we'll talk about that later. He does look sweaty. I don't think he would smell bad, but he looks sweaty.
Maybe it was a different person.
It was him.
Oh, yeah. And maybe it's just because I'm seeing him in, like, Gladiator recently, where it's, like, obviously, but I'm just, like, I don't know. He looks like he probably sweats a lot, but it doesn't mean he smells bad. I'm sure he bathes.
He looks like an excitable, sweaty person.
Yeah. And I love him. I think, like, I would love to be friends with him. He's such a cute
I would love to be
person.
friends with him, too. I'm, like, not attracted to him at all, though.
I think I would be if I knew him, like, personally, like, interpersonally. Like, imagine it's Paul, you're at your desk at work, and, like, Paul Mescal is your coworker. Then I'd be like, yeah, I'm interested in you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. He just looks like sweaty. He looks like, he just kind of has, okay, I'll tell you what kind of gave me the ick.
Okay.
It was not originally, but, like, what additionally gave me the ick was, like, him... Because we actually watched SNL live this weekend.
Yeah, and he hosted.
And he came out. It didn't give me the ick. I guess I should rephrase. I feel like people are going to be really mad. But, like, he came out, first of all, I think he was drunk when he, like, was doing the monologue, which I would have to be as well.
Yeah.
I'd be so nervous. But he came, and maybe he was just, because you said you don't think he's drunk, you think he's just, like, excited and nervous. And, like, just the way that he was just so, like, he's almost this, like, very, like, overly, like, puppy dog goofy.
Yeah.
And, like, that's cute and all. But, like, I'm just not, like, super attracted to that.
Also, he does, and maybe it's because he plays, like, these hugely emotional roles. Like, I don't think I can be with someone who's more emotional than me because I am so emotional. I need someone to be like, Alexa, please stop crying, like, in this emergency situation. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He does seem like he's a very, like, sad boy. I mean, he's like the sad boy that people always think about.
But he also
like,
is kind of like a little puppy.
Exactly. And, like, okay.
In real life, maybe.
Yeah.
And you know what? Puppies sweat.
Do they?
Yeah, through their paws, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But anyways, so my couple, it's actually not even the breakup that surprised me because it's Jamie Foxx and Katie Holmes. And the reason is why I think this is the craziest breakup is because they were together for like 5 or 6 years. And I didn't know they were together until they broke up. And I'm just like, that's a crazy, like gun to my head pairing people in Hollywood. I would not be like Jamie Foxx and Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
And they were together for that long. It was not all over the press.
No.
And then they broke up.
You're like, wait.
After 5 or 6 years.
I didn't actually know they were together for that long. I knew they were together, and I remember also being really surprised by it, but I didn't know they were together that long.
Yeah, they were together for years.
And the thing is, I don't really know what I'm surprised about because I don't know Katie Holmes. Like, I feel like I don't know anything about her. I literally can tell you 2 movies that she's in, and one of them I can't even name. I just remember the movie. But I can only name you 2 movies that she's in, and I don't know what she's like as a person either. I don't think I've ever seen one interview with her. I just know her name.
She always reminds me of Charlotte York from Sex and the City. And that's why, like, very, like, buttoned up, like, whatever.
And she's very pretty. She seems seems like a very classy woman, but I really don't know that much about her. Whereas, like, I feel like I do know a lot about Jamie Foxx.
Yeah,
so
he seems like a very, like, Renaissance man, like, you know, like.
So what was there to be surprised about when you think about it? Because it's just like, I don't really know what Katie Holmes is like, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I was just, like, shocked that they were together.
I know. No, I agree,
and
but
there's so
I'm
many
just
people I
questioning
mentioned this too, that they were like, what? They were together? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. No, they were, crazy. I remember, because I remember when I found that out, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But again, like, I'm like, what was I surprised about? That's an interesting one. So that was more, it's less that they broke up. It wasn't really a crazy breakup. It was more just like a crazy partnering.
Yeah. I guess the craziest breakup is probably
Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes.
I was going to say Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Wow. I didn't even think about saying them. No, and by the way, no one has said them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't want to bring up, like, dredge it all up again, but it's just like,
wait, that's
the most public.
How did I not think about that?
Like,
it was the most public breakup ever. Probably more than,
like, imagine, like,
one of the big
ones.
The
things that have happened between, like, I'm thinking about, like, past relationships I've had where it's like we've broken up, and, like, imagine having, like, your text messages read in a court hearing, or, like, the things that you've done or said.
Yeah. And then also imagine, like, that, remember when she shit on the bed, and that was, like, a whole thing?
But then he
peed on the walls, and it was, like...
And imagine just sitting there and in court and having to be like, yes, that was me.
Like, the whole thing was so crazy, because I think what was so crazy about it is, like, say what you will about, like, obviously I'm a fan of Johnny Depp's movies, but if you watched that trial and took away from that they weren't both crazy, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because they're both crazy.
Oh, absolutely. But that, So, I guess I said two, but one technically I guess wasn't a breakup, but yeah. But what did some of our fans say?
Okay, well, Megan said probably Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, or Brad and Angelina. And that was, I assumed people were going to say that. I feel like Brad and Jennifer, you know what's crazy about that really quick? Well, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Well, I was going to say, I read something like a year ago about how people still bring it up. Like, people still, like, put them, Brad and Jennifer together, and, like...
Because it was I mean, I don't even think we know, because we weren't, like, really that conscious at the time. As, like,
we were playing with our Polly Pockets.
Yeah, like, again, I was, like, coming down to the basement, like, who's ready to play? Like, ready to, like, but I think it was such a crazy thing. Remember the whole drone thing where there was, like, a drone that, not remember, but have you heard about at the time there was, like, a drone.
They have drones then?
That took a picture of Jennifer Aniston while she was, like, she was tanning, like, nude in her backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, like, I mean, just, like, the amount of, like, because that was truly when, like, paparazzi was at its, like, peak.
And what I think is horrible is, like, even, like, they do this recently, but they've been doing this for years. Like, anytime it's, like, Jennifer and Brad are near each other, and they're, like, they'll take pictures together and be like, yeah, we're friends, like, water under the bridge. I can't imagine being her and being, like... I'd be like, no, I'm not going to, like, take pictures with you and be like, oh, yeah, this is great.
I'd be like,
we were married and you cheated on me and then started a family and married someone else for multiple years.
Yeah. No, and then, so if that wasn't crazy enough in that whole, like, love triangle, then his breakup with Angelina was almost not crazier. I would still say probably Brad and Jennifer was, like, a pop culture, like, phenomenon. Like, moment. But him and Angelina is, like, it's, like, a dark breakup because there's all this stuff with his kids, and it's just, it's pretty, it's nasty. Like, it's, like, a really nasty breakup.
Also, Angelina and Brad's child, Shiloh.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. Ever.
Like, Angelina does seem like a very good mom. Like, her kids seem pretty successful. They're in college. Like, they just, like, hopefully.
And I think they've disassociated from Brad.
They have, yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. And then Tanya said people were really upset about Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert.
Oh,
that was a pretty big one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he got voted sexiest man of the year. And honestly, that made me even more upset. He sucks.
I know.
He sucks.
I mean, I don't... What did he do, actually? I can't remember. Did he cheat on her?
Yeah, with Gwen Stefani.
Oh, right.
And they're married now.
Well, I know he's with Gwen Stefani, but I forgot that was... Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Fuck these men. Honestly,
and it's Blake Shelton. I've never liked.
On all the couples we named, have any of these women been out here cheating?
Remember the whole bromance with Blake Shelton and Adam Levine? I just like.
Oh no.
Well, just because they were both on The Voice together, and it was like.
You know what, men, just keep it in your pants. Control yourself.
I guess my point with that was I've never cared about Blake Shelton. I don't find him funny. I don't care about anything that he does. Yeah.
Did we go to his bar in Nashville? I can't remember. I think we did. That was fun. But besides that,
great bar. But,
yeah, horrible person.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, again, we don't really know them.
Yeah, true.
But you're right. He did publicly cheat on. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. And then Cordy said any breakup that Pete Davidson has.
Oh,
which is so true.
He hasn't had any in a while, has he?
So I think so he and Kim Kardashian broke up, but that was kind of a mutual thing. I still think that was a publicity stunt. Though, yeah. But I don't know who he's with currently. I feel like he dates he pulls. He was with Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. Ariana Grande, yeah.
So the Ariana Grande one was really crazy though because he was dating
Cassie.
It's not Cassie. It's
Cassie David?
It's not Cassie. It's Cassie or something. It's something David. He was dating Larry David's daughter. And then he cheated on her with Ariana Grande.
Yeah. And
so that was already kind of a crazy breakup. And then he and Ariana Grande broke up and that was kind of public. So
yeah. That is crazy.
And he seems like such a nice guy. I actually really like Pete Davidson a lot.
He does seem like he would be a nice guy.
Messy.
Yeah. He seems like he's got some things to work out, but don't we all, you know? Also, I feel like the Kardashians just love dating these absolute noodles of men.
So Kim Kardashian, that was not originally her type, I don't think. I mean, she dated Reggie Bush before she dated Kanye, but then I noticed she started dating Pete Davidson when Kourtney was dating or got together with Travis Barker and Megan Fox was with Machine Gun Kelly. And so it was just it seemed to me like she was sort of trying to get on that train.
And then that's how Kylie's with Timothée Chalamet, which
exactly.
Which if you don't know, Timothée Chalamet is a real baller. He's a real Game Boy boy. He is. Okay, but I just want to start out by saying this is the way craziest. I would honestly love to just kidnap him and have him be my friend.
So Timothée Chalamet, lock your doors and literally don't go outside.
But I would like to be your friend. But now I guess it's probably weird.
I mean, you've made it clear that you would like to be more than that.
Actually, no. I was thinking about, I'm not really, attracted to him. I'm I just feel like he'd be fun to hang out with. I feel like he's a fun dude.
He's cool. I actually, I've never been attracted to him because he's just,
and I want to ask him what his skincare routine is.
Really?
Look at that jawline. He looks like he's...
jawline,
he looks like he's never had a zit in his life.
So he's one sometimes I do think... No, I'm not going to say it.
Well, now I want to know.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know if I really feel this way, but he's somebody who I'd say, maybe doesn't smell great.
Really? I feel like he smells like a French soap.
There's a rumor that he spread didn't he spread something at NYU?
The clap?
Yeah, the clap.
What college student hasn't, really? I personally haven't.
I was I didn't.
I didn't, but I feel like there's someone at every...
It's just
there was
funny,
someone at my college who everyone was true. Oh, they have the clap. They've given it to everyone. Everyone does that, you know?
But it's the fact that it was him is very funny to me.
Yeah.
So I do think he's a cool guy, though. I do like him. And he's also... Well, we'll get into this later. But, he has been having the craziest press... Okay, I'll say this now. He's the youngest person to ever be nominated for 4 Golden Globes, which is an interesting factoid.
I think outside of his personality, he is talented.
He is. I think he's currently...
Give it to that little noodle boy.
He's about to play Bob Dylan in a Bob Dylan biopic.
And you know I'm ready for that.
Is A Complete Unknown? Is that what it's called? So,
didn't even know the name, honestly. I'm tickets already bought.
Wait, am I right though?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's apparently amazing because it's getting great reviews, but he has been doing the craziest press tour lately. So he was on College GameDay.
Mm-hmm. Which, for those of you who didn't know, I didn't know. College Game Day, I guess, they have like a celebrity picker or whatever every week, and people were surprised, like, when they said that it was going to be Timothee Chalamet. People were like, okay,
yeah,
that's
he's kind of this artsy, like,
Yeah.
people just didn't think of him as necessarily being, like, athletic, sporty guy.
I always think of the line from The Good Place where she's like, oh, I love Timothee Chalamet. He's just like a sick Victorian boy that I want to feed soup.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes.
But he knows sports.
He knows sports. It seemed like he knew sports better than the other announcers.
He did. He
was like, oh, I'm doing the over-under. Like, I'm putting... There was, like, a couple of guesses where he was the only one to put, like, a certain team down. Don't ask me which team, because I obviously was not paying attention to, like, the sports part of it. And he was the only one who, like, got it right.
He kind of seems like a perfect specimen to me, which makes me wonder when his downfall is going to be. And I hate to say that, but I'm just like, it seems like just, like, he can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And that's never true for somebody. So, like,
Right.
I hate to think like that, but I'm just saying. But I did see a thing that it was like women have always loved him, so now it's like men finally love him because he was such a
He's
baller.
a bro.
He's
a bro.
He's a bro.
And the thing is, I saw this thing I didn't realize. I guess he's always been kind of like a sports dude.
Did you see the jersey? Are you talking about that?
His first paycheck he got as an actor, he used to buy like courtside seats to a basketball game.
He does, and I forgot he does go to basketball games.
Yeah.
Like, I do always see pictures. But also he was at some show, because he's like a theater kid, obviously, but like he went to somebody was like, there's a famous picture of him, or not famous, but like famous for like Timothee Chalamet fans, I guess, of him when he was like younger. I mean, he looked like a 12-year-old or something. He was outside a show that there was like a famous athlete. I don't know the context of the photo necessarily, but it was like an athlete was outside at the stage door of a show, and he was like, Timothee had brought a jersey for him to sign, and somebody was like, he showed up to a show with a jersey, and you didn't think that he was like a sports guy.
The amount that he knew, though, like, it was crazy because it's like, there are things that I'm passionate about. I was like, he is talking about things like before he was born.
Oh, he's also a big football fan. Like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like, because you know how he speaks French?
Yeah.
I guess, like, it's like a French football team that he, like...
You mean a French soccer team or a French...
Well, don't they call it football?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I'm clarifying because Game Day was
I know, but
American.
I'm just saying I know that he is into sports, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Football versus, like, football.
Football.
Yeah.
And he knew, like, he's just like he was like kind of a deep dive thing for him that he just like knew. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Dune 2 press, so it's from the Dune 2 press.
Yeah.
But press tour. But anyway, yeah, he did a great job.
Honestly, I don't even know anything he said during that College Game Day thing.
But I was just like,
go look up
mesmerized.
the video. It's entertaining. Like,
it is.
Just someone who knows her stuff and is clearly like very passionate about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow.
And it was shocking.
Yeah, it was shocking.
And then he was also but he also, again, a part of it, like, this press tour is wild. He also, like, the other day surprised the University of Minnesota marching band.
Yeah.
And, like, just showed up. I don't know why. I'm not sure what he's doing.
And
like,
it's unfortunate that he has that weird little perv mustache the whole time for that. Because it's for a movie. It's for a film. I get it.
It does
it
creeps me out a little bit.
I was thinking, I was like, how long does it take him to grow that mustache back? Because if it were me, I'd just, like, shave it off. Granted, I could grow a mustache in the next 3 days.
Do you know what it's for? Because I'm curious what, he's filmed. Is he supposed to look older in the role? Because it does not make him look older.
No.
It just makes him look like a little, like...
I think it's like, it's not period piece, but it's like takes place in like, I think like the 50s or something. I don't know the movie. I don't know anything about it,
like
but I've
he's
seen...
like in a twirlet, like a little French...
Yeah. Football. That's him. But anyway, so that's just fun. That was just...
It is just fun.
It was so fun to watch.
But I found the funniest photo, and I really want to post it. But it's him. I'm sorry. Look at this photo. It's a photo of him with a tuba. And he looks like just like literally, again, like, doesn't he look kind of like, he looks like a sweaty, like greasy, like freshman.
I'm gonna be honest,
like a
I'm
high
looking
school
at this
freshman.
photo and thinking about the fact that I could probably throw him wet like at least 10 feet.
And I'm not making fun. I'm just saying, like, he looks, in the context of this photo, he looks like a high school freshman, but like one, like like he doesn't like shower. And I'm not saying please no one come for me. Like, I'm not saying this about Timothee. I'm just saying in the photo, that's what he looks like. I'm
picturing myself, you know how like kids with their toddlers will like lift them up and be like, wee, and throw them in the air and catch them? Like,
that's all you want to do it to me. Like, that's
so small.
Okay, but for you to be like, I want to kidnap him, that's more terrifying that's what you want to do with him. They just push him on a swing set.
He's like sitting in the basement, he's terrified, and I'm just like, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready to play? And I'm just like, wee!
Again, me with my dolls in the basement.
Again, to clarify, I will not be kidnapping Timothee Chalamet.
No, this is all just a joke.
This is all just a joke. I do care about his health and well-being. I just think he's a great person.
Parasocial relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Parasocial. Except if he does something bad and he's an awful person, I'll be like, yeah, he fucking sucks. Yeah. Bye. Not throwing you in the air today, Timmy.
It's coming. Because there's no way somebody's like that perfect, you know?
I don't know. With a base structure like that, how could you not be?
After that photo, with a base structure like that, he's like literally was like a freshman in high school. A freshman band kid in high school.
I love that. And meanwhile, he's like our age.
He is. He might be older.
No, he's a year younger than me, so your age.
Okay.
So he's younger than me, more successful, and like thinner, and that's unfortunate. But whatever.
Well,
anyways, do you want some more wine?
Sure.
Today we are drinking a wine courtesy of friend of the pod, Megan. It's called Rascal Rosé, and I guess I should say on here.
Yeah, why'd you get this rosé?
Yeah, now that we're 46 minutes into the podcast, I should probably announce that.
Life update.
Yeah, Chris and I got engaged this weekend. Everyone's
so Timothee, she's off the market.
Yeah, no kidnapping for you. You consider yourself lucky. Only Chris is trapped in my basement.
Only Chris. She's only gonna throw Chris up in the air.
Yeah,
and catch him.
Can you imagine? We both go to the hospital. I realized, have you ever like, it's probably different for you and Matthew, but like one time like I put on Chris's like sweatpants or whatever, I was like, these will be so baggy and comfy, and I was like, these fit perfectly. And I was like, I'm gonna have a breakdown. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, we got engaged. And Molly's known, I want you all to know, for a long time. She's been sitting here in front of me recording this podcast knowing that Chris was gonna propose to me.
And I need everybody to understand how terrified I was, because as you can probably imagine, like, Alexa and I are around each other quite a bit. I'm over here every Monday night.
Yeah.
And
then we're like friends outside of this podcast.
Exactly. And so, but not only like, so I'm here, and then afterwards, like, we eat dinner together, and like we're hanging out, and
it's very wholesome.
Drinks are flowing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like terrified that I can just slip up. There was something that happened that I wanted to text her about, but it had to do with her engagement. And I was like, this is the kind of thing. And I was really, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. But I was telling Chris, I was like, I wish I didn't know. I'm happy for you, but I wish I didn't know.
I had no idea you knew. You guys did great.
Thank you.
And if you guys don't know who Chris is, he's like our third ghost podcaster.
He's our music correspondent. They actually met
music and
through
sports.
the podcast.
Yeah. Actually, we started recording in his house, and then we said, oh my God, who are you?
This could work. Yeah.
Yeah. Just kidding. We actually met at the same place where Molly and I met. At the newspaper we all used to work for. Oh, yeah,
that. I thought you meant at the winery. I was like, that's not what I heard.
Chris and I were together by that time, so we did all know each other. Yeah. We all met the same day. Crazy.
Aww.
But anyways.
And we're very happy for Alexa and Chris. Cheers.
Cheers. And thank you again, Megan, for the wine.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. I am benefiting from your gift to Alexa.
Yeah. As always. Let's share the wealth.
What's yours is mine.
Yes, exactly.
What's mine is yours.
But to get into something that I know Chris does have opinions on, but unfortunately he's not here. So I'm our music correspondent today.
Proposed to her and then just dipped.
Yeah, he went to a conference. He didn't leave.
He didn't leave her.
He went out for milk and never came back.
He went out for cigarettes and never came back.
Yeah. But anyways, so as you may or may not know, a couple weeks ago, Kendrick Lamar dropped a new album. It is fire. It is so good. I mean, I don't have a lot to say on that because I'm not like a huge like music head type of person. Yeah. I just listen to it and I say, this is good.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot of like innuendos in it. But what I was quoting earlier when we were doing the sound test is, I forget which song it is, but Chris and I are in the car and he's like, oh, there's a surprise in this song. And I was like, okay. And what it is it's basically like DJ Mustard comes on, but when he does, Kendrick just yells into the mic. He's like, mustard!
Oh, that's where the mustard thing came from.
I've never felt more like an old white lady, because when it came on, it's like it's blasting through the speakers. I said, oh gosh. Even though like I loved it, it was great. It was just, I was like, it's such a surprise. I got to that point where like loud noises kind of are like, I'm like, oh,
no,
like a shock to me. But anyways, it's phenomenal. But in case you didn't know, also Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been feuding. There are multiple episodes where my fiance, Chris, crazy.
Oh my gosh! You don't have to say my boyfriend Chris anymore.
Yeah.
It's my fiance Chris. My fiance Chris.
Friend of the pod, fiance Chris.
Oh my god.
But anyways, so he's come on and talked about like this feud a while ago, a few episodes ago. But so a few weeks ago, I think this was the beginning of December, Drake is now suing Kendrick Lamar. Well, not really Kendrick Lamar. He's suing Universal Music Group, which puts out Kendrick Lamar's music. And he's claiming that they artificially inflated the popularity of Kendrick Lamar's song Not Like Us, which is the one where he absolutely demolishes
obliterates him.
Drake, yeah. And so, which I love, this article said, better known as the exclamation point in Lamar's overwhelming victory in their ongoing beef. Anyways, so Drake claims that the success wasn't organic. He alleges that Universal Music Group deliberately pushed the record to cause him financial and personal harm, as his reputation was clearly affected by the song's messaging. Then he also filed a second lawsuit in Texas, which Drake is a Texas resident, and it aims to determine whether Universal Music Group participated in a pay-per-click scheme to promote Not Like Us with iHeartRadio, of which their headquarters are also in Texas, and is the country's top audio company. The petition says that iHeartMedia and UMG intentionally harmed Drake's reputation with like the promotion of the song, and he claims that UMG authorized Not Like Us to be released, even though they knew the song's lyrics, album art, music, and video disparaged Drake's career or character. You don't know, in it, like, Kendrick Lamar basically calls Drake a pedophile. He alleges that, you know, just like, that's like a main staple of it, but there's also a bunch of other awful stuff that he says about him. But the thing is, Drake was also putting out songs about Kendrick. They just weren't as popular. And I think it's basically Drake, like, kind of being like, my music didn't win. You know, like, he's just like, oh, like, I didn't, like, oh, like, this song, it has to be, I'm not kidding, the most awful feeling in the world to be like, this is one of the most popular songs ever, and you are getting absolutely roasted. I think Drake has, like, a sense of, like, narcissism, and, like, I think he thinks he's better than he is. And here's the difference between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, is Drake, like, doesn't necessarily always write his own music. He is a pop rapper. Yeah. Kendrick Lamar is very famous, like, the biggest rapper in the world, arguably, but he's not a pop rapper. Like, he's literally won a Pulitzer Prize for his lyrics. Yeah. You know, like, he writes them himself. Artist. He is an artist. And it's interesting, I was listening to this podcast where basically, like, Kendrick always, I think, compares himself to Prince, whereas, like, Drake compares himself to Michael Jackson. And I was like, that actually is a really good comparison, not only in just, like, the potential pedophilia aspects of it, alleged, you know, but in the fact that, like, Prince did feel more, like, into his art than, like, Michael Jackson was, like, a pop singer, and, like, I think Prince's career lasted longer and that sort of thing.
Well, and there's this kind of air of, like, I guess there was sort of a mystery to Michael Jackson in a way, but there was kind of always this air of, like, mystery to Prince that I would say, just other than this, like, very public feud, I would say Kendrick Lamar kind of has, like, a little bit of mystery to him, way more than Drake does.
I have seen him live, and I remember seeing him live was the first time I realized, I was like, oh, he's, like, a short dude.
Yeah, he's a little pipsqueak.
I can't think of any times that I've really seen a lot of, like, press conferences with him, or, like, a lot of interviews. Like, it's like, he's pretty personal, but he's so public, you know? Yeah. And, like, even when he did, like, the pop-out show in LA, I was like, oh, he kind of just looks like an average guy. Yeah. And, like, and I'm not saying, like, he's ugly or anything. I actually think he's quite handsome. But, like, he just, whereas
Drake to me just, like, looks like an asshole to me.
Yeah, like, he looks awful. And, like, when you listen back to his songs, like, I would say when I went to college, which was, like, 2013 to 2017, was, like, peak Drake era. Like, you were in a frat basement, you were, like, your shoes are sticking to the floor, and it's just, like, Drake rapping about Nicki Minaj. You know what I mean? And I listen back to those songs and I'm like, yeah, it's like frat music song.
It is.
Whereas I remember like I would listen to Kendrick Lamar when I would like walk around campus and be like, I'm in my feelings. Like I want to feel things. I want to listen to art. I would listen to Drake when it's like, I want to get like drunk and like go to a party.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to compare yourself to Michael Jackson though.
Yeah,
Like,
and again,
that's
like
wild.
that was just like people I heard discussing it.
Oh, I thought you said he compared himself to Michael Jackson.
Well, they said he did, so I can't I didn't fact check that at all.
Interesting.
So don't take my word for that, but I could see that like comparison, really like that shakedown. But I think it's interesting. So he's suing Universal Music Group as opposed to suing Kendrick Lamar himself. And I think like someone was saying, I was doing a little bit of research, and they were saying, well, basically like, in lawsuits, the rule of thumb is you always go for, like, the person with the biggest money, which is going to be Universal Music Group or iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of, like, it's honestly embarrassing, I think, for Drake
so embarrassing
to be suing Kendrick for this. If I were Drake and this happened, I would be like, I'm not coming. Like, he has plenty of money. He doesn't need to, like, necessarily, like, actively be working.
Yeah.
I would be like, I'm not going to be seen for, like, maybe a year or two. Like, I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to be working on some music.
Maybe really take this time to, like, really work on your music.
Yeah.
And, like...
yeah. But I think, like, Drake does seem like maybe he's, like, kind of a narcissist, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I
like,
mean,
he
okay.
Can't handle it.
To be fair, would you? I mean, like, how would you react if that
Yeah.
happened? I also,
That's true.
I kind of feel like...
Got absolutely owned in front of the whole world.
someone, and then, like... yeah, exactly. Like, I almost feel like suing is sort of your first
Yeah.
thing. I mean, people are literally...
But the thing is,
people, I mean, the things that he's being called,
yeah,
that's like it's defamation of character. Like, it's pretty wild, actually. So,
but the thing is, it's like, again, it's just like embarrassing, and that's how you know,
in
like,
his profession, that's like embarrassing. You're supposed to like
Yeah.
come back. You're supposed to like fight it.
But then also he went out and he said like awful things about Kendrick too, about like him cheating on his wife, like these horrible things about his family, and obviously Kendrick's not suing him because he like technically won the rap battle,
Exactly.
the WAP battle.
WAP battle. WAP battle.
But it's oh, what was I gonna say? Like, it's how, like, you know, Kendrick in the songs, he basically insinuates and talks about how, like, all the people around Drake are people that he paid to, like, be friends with him and be around him. And it's like, that's how you know that Drake has a team of yes men. Because, like, imagine us in the same situation. Like, you would be like, Alexa, I think you should either wait to sue or, like, not do that. Like, it's not gonna look even, it's gonna make your character look even worse.
Yeah.
You know? So, I just think it's interesting. The album, again, is incredible. It came out when we were in New Orleans with friend of the pod, Tanya, go listen to her episode, and friend of the pod, Emily, and a bunch of friends. I remember, like, we were sitting in the back of an Uber, and everyone turned to me, and they were like, Kendrick released a new album? And I was like, oh, yeah, I saw it on Chris's story, like, a few hours ago. And they were like, you didn't say anything? I was like, we have been drinking for 6+ hours. I was like, I'm on Instagram. I don't even know what I'm clicking.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm looking at. But it was crazy because it's like he dropped this album with no publicity, nothing's going on, and people, like, we went to the restaurant and the guys who were like opening the door for the restaurant heard us talking about Kendrick Lamar's new album. They were like, "Oh my God, you haven't listened to the album?" Like, and they started playing it on their phones for us. Like, that is how like big his music is. You know, like, I think he has such a huge influence. I'm excited to see his Super Bowl show, during which Drake will fittingly, I think, be in Australia. As I would be too. I don't think he's going to play, like, the Not Like Us or anything that he's getting sued over for. I think he would if there were no, like, legal ramifications or whatever.
It wouldn't be super fitting of the Super Bowl either, to be honest. Like, it just would be kind of, honestly, I think it'd be, like, a little bit in bad taste. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I don't know.
But I think he's going to be, like,
I would definitely erase myself from the planet if I were Drake.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to be the first...
AKA go to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, that's the closest you can do, besides, like, chilling with some penguins in Antarctica or something.
Yeah.
But I just, like, I would never show my face. I would be waiting, like, years. You gotta wait for it to pass. Like, it's just embarrassing, you know?
I know.
But speaking of people that we've seen their faces, I know you're excited to, well, not excited, but you've got info on the United Healthcare CEO's, what would you call it? Like a scandal? Assassination?
It's more than a scandal. It was an assassination.
Yeah.
So... yeah, the suspect is in custody.
Yeah.
I think he's still a suspect, but it's the reason we're talking about basically news. So the person that shot the CEO of United Healthcare, obviously, I mean it's in the news, but the reason we're talking about it here is because it has become a little bit of a pop culture phenomenon because when it was first kind of shown like what this man may have looked like because he at one point went to a Starbucks, I believe, and his face, like he pulled his face mask down, and he was pretty attractive, and I think at the time people weren't sure if that was actually him because there was like some question of like the coat is different and whatever.
Yeah.
But and he was like, he was flirting with the barista too.
He
so
seems
it's like a whole
he
thing.
would.
So now somebody is in custody. His name is Luigi Mangione, which I did see a funny joke that somebody said that sounds like the name of somebody J.K. Rowling would call like one of her Italian characters.
Yeah. Luigi Mangione.
But he's literally like, he's like a 26-year-old, and he's like a frat boy from UPenn.
Yeah. You can, there's a picture of him that I just pulled up. I had not seen what he looked like. I could tell he was in a frat before you even said that.
He's really hot. He's really hot.
His orthodontist did a great job.
And his eyebrows. Okay, first of all, like, and everybody's saying this right now. So when I saw that this was all trending, at the same time I saw Dave Franco was trending. And I was like, before I even clicked on it, I was like, oh, people want Dave Franco to play Luigi.
Yeah,
and
I could see that.
Sure enough, he looks a lot like him.
And I will say, as a fellow, like, hairy eyebrowed person, though, I will say he definitely has got to be shaving that unibrow. Like, there is no hair there with the thickness of those eyebrows.
He takes care of himself.
He clearly brushes his teeth multiple times a day. He does not look like he'd smell.
No, he's like, okay, and I'm separating. I'm just talking about him as a person. I'm not saying like. I'm saying, like, if you were to look at him, he's a cutie. Like, he's like.
The note made me laugh because we were typing on our shared note for this podcast at the same time. I just watched you type suspect in custody - hot.
He is, because it's like wild. And I think everybody's also just like, so everybody's like, free him, let him go. But it is
He's
funny.
our Ted Bundy.
He's on X. He has a profile. He was valedictorian of his high school.
Wow.
He has a bachelor's and master's degree in computer science. He went to UPenn.
Yeah. I want to hear from him. I want to hear, like, what...
I want to know. So apparently he had, I don't know how true this is, but I'm seeing it a lot, that he had a back surgery. And this has been a thing for a while. He's been like, I do think this has been planned for a while. It seems like it, but he seems like such a normal guy. Like, I don't understand why would he throw his life away like that?
Maybe he did it for the people, for what he believes in.
And and so a lot of people are kind of just like, let him go.
Yeah. Yeah, like I
could fix him.
I can fix honestly,
he's gonna get a lot of letters.
He will. I can't wait for that
the trial.
No, what's the American Horror Story guy created?
Ryan Murphy.
I can't wait for that.
Ryan Murphy has already opened up his Microsoft Word.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan Murphy right now is literally just. And also being like,
get Dave Franco on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy though.
Actually, what's his face who played
Cooper?
Yeah, play Cooper Koch?
Coach. I said Coach. I don't know what it is.
Coach Cooper?
Koch?
He would play a good version of him, I think.
He would.
It's too soon, obviously. But not for Ryan Murphy, probably.
Yeah. He's also, we'll talk about this later, but he's nominated for a Golden Globe.
Oh, very exciting.
Yeah. But anyway, it's just kind of mind-blowing to me because, like, he was angry. And it was a very targeted thing. And I think a lot of people, and jokes aside, exactly. And I think jokes aside, people are feeling free to make jokes about this and be like, he's so hot, like, free. And because people kind of like, okay, you shouldn't kill someone, but I think a lot of people are sort of understanding of
where he's coming from. Yeah. Is it I don't know. Like, that's why I'm like, I want to hear from him, unless he's like absolutely like, I saw Satan in that man, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't think so, because he seems like a very intelligent, so a lot of, I was looking at his X profile, which is probably already down, I imagine, but at the time it was still up. He is a very smart guy.
Yeah. And I think we are in this weird stage of like Handmaid's Tale type world where it's like people are making these drastic like scenes to be seen. To make their point across, because it's clear, like, the subtlety isn't really working, apparently.
Yeah. And, I mean, to be seen, I don't know. He may have been... So he was actually found in a McDonald's in Pennsylvania.
Damn, loves those chains.
And I was like... And so now everybody, because, like, a McDonald's employee snitched on him, everybody is now wrecking that McDonald's in the reviews. They're like, there's rats at this McDonald's. Like, the whole thing is like funny at surface level, but I also think I'm just like, guys, like, come on, like, this man had a family, and now like, imagine being the man's children. I mean, it's not their fault, and now like, all, like, people are like thirsting over the guy that killed your dad. Can you imagine?
Yeah, the things they do for hot people.
And then also this McDonald's is like suffering because they gave up a murderer. Yeah. So I mean, again, jokes aside, I'm willing to see the real, like, but it is still, I will say it's entertaining and it is amusing because it's just crazy. I think ultimately this is just crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's sometimes when things like this happen, it makes me feel like we are truly living in like Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like political things that become like entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it on a pop culture podcast.
Yeah.
And I insisted upon it because there's a lot of memes out of it, and it was kind of entertaining to me.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting thing. I'm curious. Also, he's still a suspect, so we don't actually know for sure.
Yeah, this is all alleged, and we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if they are like, actually, this wasn't the guy, and this poor man.
And that's the thing that happens, like, in these, like, what do you call it, like, very public trials. Like, the thing is, it's a blip in the news cycle, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe for the next 5 or 6 months. Mm-hmm. This person, you Google them for the rest of their life, and if it wasn't him, that's still what's going to pop up. And every time he has to be like, no, I was just accused. I was just, like, going to Starbucks. I just really wanted a McGriddle. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it probably is him, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, like, the thing that's kind of unfortunate in these trials.
I know. That being said, it does, I think it's clear that it's him. But it's crazy, though. I mean, he did all that, and it's like, he is, I mean, I assume he would be going away for, like, life. So it's, like, crazy that a 26-year-old, as famous as he is right now, and as loved
that's like
as
the Menendez
he is,
brothers.
I know.
Yeah.
But I don't see, so that, I actually thought about them today with this, because I was like, is there any way that he could get out eventually? And then I'm like, no, because with them, there is, like, a whole circumstantial thing. I mean, he straight up, like, killed and targeted somebody, so there's no way of like he also, the other thing that was crazy to me was he used a silence, what do you call that, like a silencer.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's like so specific. How did he know to do that? Like, that's pretty crazy. He really was like planning this.
I'll be honest, like, I think that's like not common knowledge, but like I've watched enough shows where I'd be like,
people said that to me when I brought that up today, and I was like, oh, I guess I just don't.
As someone who's never even shot a gun, I would be like, yeah, I'd use a silencer.
I didn't even think about that. And you're a murderer. And Timothee Chalamet, lock your doors.
Okay, please, to clarify, please don't send the police. I'm not really gonna do anything. I'm just a woman in my home.
I'm joking, but multiple people said that to me today, and I was like, oh, okay.
The things that I learned from shows, like I
know, but
the whole thing about like if you killed someone, how would you dispose of the body? I'm like, I get 5 pigs.
Yeah,
I mean, it takes like 2 hours.
People do always check. People do always check pig farms. That's like the first place they go to.
Yeah, but I do like a pig farm like states and states away. You know what I mean?
Well, that's terrifying. How would you even get on their farm? Like, how would you would just dump the body? I mean, somebody lives there.
I guess I'd have to devise a plan where it's like, hey, y'all, I need a little bit of work for some time, and I work there for a few weeks, and then they trust me, and then I just, like, dump the body when they're,
oh my God, do you have a whole, like, plan?
I'm just coming up with it off the top of my head. This whole episode is making me sound really psychotic.
And I don't want you to cut any of it.
To clarify, I have no plans to kill anyone and dispose of their body with pigs.
Ew.
Or lock Timothee Chalamet in a basement.
Can you imagine, okay, me, like, afraid of pigs? Imagine that.
Are you afraid of pigs?
Kind of. They're gross.
What are your, like, because I know there's rats. What are your, like, animals that you're afraid of? I'm curious.
Whales.
What? Why?
They're, like, my biggest fear.
What about rats?
And rats. Rats and whales.
That's crazy because it's, like, the smallest and the absolute biggest. What scares you about whales?
They're huge and they can swallow you.
They're not going
and to. And also, if you're just on a boat and they happen to do that thing where they jump, you're done. You're done.
But honestly, with like global warming, climate change,
I actually talk about it as giving me anxiety.
You don't got to worry about the whales.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've seen so many videos of them doing that. Ugh, God. Imagine if you're just
I want to save the whales. I love the whales.
Well, I think we should save the whales. I'm allowed to be scared of them. I also had a really well, as a kid, I went to SeaWorld and we sat in the splash zone. Again, I was a kid. I was 5. No one cancel me for going to SeaWorld. But I was in the splash zone and I got splashed, and it was one of the most traumatic moments of my life.
There's actually really? You weren't like, whoa!
Well, because then I and apparently, according to my parents, I at school I drew a picture of me at SeaWorld with a little frowny face on my face as I was being splashed.
Better than me drawing a picture of the Titanic sinking with people drowning in the water and saying I wanted to be on the Titanic in 4th grade. I
found a really funny video of Abby Lee Miller. It was from Dance Moms, and it was I don't even remember the scene actually, but it's the girls are at the beach, and I guess I don't know what the context was, but Abby's on the phone with somebody, and she's like, hello, we are currently shipwrecked and we're waiting for our boat. They were like, we're at this cute little fun boat place. And somebody took that and they were like, Abby Lee Miller if she was on the Titanic. Yeah. It was funny.
Funny. But I was going to say there's a whole thing in Palm Royale, which stars Kristen Wiig, which got bad reviews, but nominated for an Emmy. I thought it was great, but there's this whole thing where you learn about whales and how they're very mate for life. They're very, what do you call it, community-oriented creatures, but because of, global warming, etc., a lot of them have ended up alone, and so then you just hear their, whale sounds just echoing out into the ocean, and it's sad.
Okay, I don't want to hear that either.
You either are for or against them, Molly.
I'm not against. No one ever said I was against them. I said I was scared of them. I'm allowed to care about things I'm scared of.
But anyways, so speaking of award shows, I guess, sort of.
Yeah. Actually, before we get into that, can I just tell you something that I just saw that I'm I have to talk about this?
Yeah.
And you're not going to care because you don't care about Marvel. But I still want to share this because it's just listen to this cast and tell me, understand just from this cast how excited I am about this. This was just posted an hour ago. So there's a movie, the newest Avengers movie is called Avengers Doomsday, and it's coming out probably in 2026. It's a while from now. It's the one where I think we talked about it before, where Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU to play Doctor Doom. It's kind of wild, but listen to this cast so far. Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, Robert Downey Jr., Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss, I never know how to say his last name, Brock, whatever, and then the Thunderbolts cast, but they're not sure which members. That's the reported cast for, I'm drooling. That's the reported cast for Avengers Doomsday. Do you understand who I will become when that movie comes out? That is a stacked cast, and that's all of my, talk about Molly's men.
Yeah.
That you could have just shown that. It didn't even have to be a video compilation. It could have just been that list.
I thought you were about to list it out and it's just Robert Downey Jr. in every role.
Robert Downey Jr. as Captain America.
That's interesting. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I just wanted to share that. It has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I just saw it and I got really excited and I wanted to share it with you all.
The peak of every actor's career is if they can get a Marvel movie. Also, I feel I'm talking with my left hand a lot. Am I being annoying?
Oh, I wonder why.
Am I being annoying?
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
I don't like hands in my face.
Oh, okay.
But I will take that hand in my face. I don't know. So, wait, what were we saying?
Oh, what were you just saying? I was saying we had mentioned that some show being a nominee. Oh, we had mentioned that Palm Royale had been nominated for an Emmy, and I was saying, speaking of award shows, Golden Globe nominations came out.
Okay, yes, but I know what you said before. It was that you were it's every actor's peak to be in a Marvel movie.
You're on Marvel. Okay.
I'm going back to Golden. I just was telling you I was going to answer you. I actually think some people see it as selling out.
I could see that, but it's that money is you're going to be fine for life. Once again, I think I've mentioned this before, Marvel movies, I have a vendetta against them after working in a movie theater because everyone always waits.
Oh, yeah, and you're trying to
and even
clean up.
We saw Wicked a few weeks ago with my friend Becca, love Becca, but at the end she was like, do you want to wait and see if there was a preview for the next movie? And I was like, fuck no. These people want to come in and they want to clean the theater.
Oh, there's not a and I could have told you that.
But it used to make me so mad.
So, yeah, the nominations, and this is why I was saying, it just felt like there was so much news today. Like there were so many announcements. So the Golden Globe nominations came out today, and they're pretty good. Have you heard of the movie Amelia Perez?
Yeah,
it has
with
Selena Gomez,
Zoe Saldana.
And Zoe Saldana. So that's leading with 10 nominations.
Has it come out in theaters yet?
I hear such mixed things about it, though. I've heard people say, like, it's not good and they don't understand why it's nominated. But obviously it is good.
Here's the thing that pisses me off is when, like, movies aren't even out in theaters. Or they're not even, like,
so
we were talking
where
about
am I
that movie,
supposed to watch it?
That movie Queer, and they're like, it's gonna get nominated for an Oscar. It's gonna win.
And it did, by the way. It got nominated for a bunch of Golden Globes.
And it's like, well, how am I supposed to know? How, the little people here, how am I supposed to view that?
I know.
I'm not in Los Angeles.
I don't want to pay $20 to rent it. I mean, I would like to see it at the movies, but I don't
exactly.
know.
But anyways.
So that, I just wanted to point that out. It got a lot. One thing that was really notable to me that was kind of crazy was, so Sebastian Stan, who, again, Marvel, who, by the way, the craziest trajectory, because he started out as a Marvel actor, or not started out, but became known for being a Marvel actor, and he is now nominated for 2 Golden Globes at the same time, for The Apprentice and for a movie called A Different Man, which I actually want to see.
Can I be honest? I have no idea what he looks like.
So this is what he, like, normally looks like.
Oh, him!
Yeah, he's amazing, and then this was him playing Trump.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's nominated for both roles. Also, this is crazy. So speaking of The Apprentice, Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong are both nominated in the same category. And I'm like, look at that.
Wow, look
Another
at that.
Succession.
Look at that.
So Alexa and I saw A Real Pain, which we talked about in a previous episode.
Yeah, I think like 2 episodes ago. Great movie. I was playing the soundtrack again.
Yeah, we were listening to the soundtrack.
That's going to be on my Spotify Wrap next year. I'm guaranteed.
Next year. I was actually worried that a lot of that music would end up on my Spotify Wrap because I started to like listen to it a lot as I was working.
Can you share what your top artist was? You got your little artist message from?
Okay, so my top song was Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay.
Espresso. My top artist was Nicholas Brittle, who does the music for, he's the composer for Succession. And because I listen to Succession music so much.
That's the thing about like Succession music. It's phenomenal. It is so dramatic.
I'm
picturing you just in your daily life, and it's like dun 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 or whatever.
Oh, 100%.
And you're just like typing at the office. That's so wild. And she even got, I didn't know they did this for like artists. I don't think he's a small artist, but he's not like Sabrina Carpenter.
There's no way he has a lot of top listeners.
He was like, you're the only one who got this message this year. Congrats.
He seemed confused. Also, I was listening.
He seemed confused.
So we were talking about it one night, and we were like, and I think you and Megan were both like, wait, did you actually get a video from him? Like, there's no way you got. And I was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, I think I did. And I pulled it up and showed it to you guys. Like, you didn't believe me. And I showed it to y'all, and you were like, what? And I was really watching the video later, and he was just like at his piano, and he's like, hey, like, you're one of my top artists. Like, one of my top. I was like,
I'm just imagining being like, hey, Molly Golson, it's just you and me.
I would die. Because respectfully, I'm his biggest fan.
No, after hearing that, I believe it. Absolutely.
I once was watching a video.
I love the Succession music.
I know. I was watching a video, because I listen to it in the car, like I listen to it at home. Like, I'm always listening to Succession music.
Yeah.
I'm also always watching Succession, but whatever. I was watching a video of like, it was like the Succession season 4 premiere or something. I don't know, but it was like the cast was like on the red carpet, like doing interviews, and like it was like a compilation of like all of them interviewing, and like he popped up, like he was there obviously, and he answered a question. I literally cheered.
Oh,
to myself.
As you should.
I was like, I love him. I'm your biggest fan.
I think I told you I was trying to learn how to play the Succession theme on the piano, but our keyboard is missing the D note. I think it's the D note in every octave. So I was like, it just didn't really flow that well.
So I realized, though, I will say I'm still a huge fan, but a little bit of like, I mean, I obviously still like respect him, but like, I thought he was a musical genius because the music is so amazing that I was like, whoa, like what? Like this music is incredible. Some of it's taken from Beethoven, sorry. I always say Beethoven. I swear I wasn't trying to pronounce the G. It just always comes out.
I was like gonna let that slide, but I think my face.
How did I say it?
You said Beethoven. or something.
Okay, thank God I didn't say big. Usually I say Beethoven because
Beethoven.
Yes, I used to as a kid think it was Beethoven. So
that makes sense
because it was a little. Because I used to think Beethoven was a.
Everyone steals
German
from
Shepherd or
Beethoven.
whatever.
Like it's Beethoven.
Is that?
You know what I mean?
I've been saying Beethoven. Do you say Beethoven?
Beethoven.
Oh my God.
Like B-A-Y.
Please kill me. I've been like saying it wrong. It's so embarrassing.
I mean, how often are you talking about Beethoven? You know, I'm
Stop
sure like
saying it like that.
Is that not correct me if I'm wrong? Is that
That's not how they said it about the dog. They didn't say Beethoven.
How did they say it?
Well, in my like 6-year-old head, I thought they were saying Bigtoven.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
With a G. Bigtoven.
How do you pronounce? I can't spell his name right.
It's Beethoven.
Wait, I thought you were saying there was like a G in it or something.
I'm saying I pronounce it with a G.
Okay, here it is. Okay, it didn't play, but it says, it's right here. It says B-A-Y bullet T-O-W-V-N, so Beethoven.
Don't say it like that to me.
I'm trying like not to make you feel bad. Like it's
the
fine.
The way you said it just now.
I'm just saying the name.
Made me feel
Ludwig
worse.
von Beethoven.
It's stupid.
I'm sorry.
How'd you just say his first name?
Ludwig.
Okay.
Why were you ready to like get my ass?
Okay, ex machina.
Luda. He's the original Luda.
But he wasn't featured on anything.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know.
All right.
Anyways,
back to it. We weren't even talking. So I just wanted to say that I thought it was really exciting and fun and cool that Jeremy Strong and Kieran Culkin were both nominated in the same category.
Really exciting and fun and cool. I
love
love that.
It's like, wow.
Wow.
I love them.
Whoa.
Anyway,
it's really fun and flirty.
Yeah.
Why is Wallace and Gromit?
Good.
Oh, it's
Vengeance
nominated
Most
for
Foul?
animated Best
I
Picture.
can't wait to see that, by the way. When Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul comes out on Netflix, I will do an entire episode on Wallace and Gromit.
I
love Wallace and Gromit.
My question is, how is Memoir of a Snail different than Marcel the Shell?
I was actually, for a while, when I first saw that, I was like, I thought that was Marcel the Shell.
Which, if you haven't seen the Marcel the Shell movie,
I haven't seen it, actually.
It's really good.
I would love to, because I love
my
Marcel
mom.
the Shell.
It was good.
But I thought Memoir of a Snail was the same thing.
Marcel the Shell, Memoir of a
So
Snail.
they do have a new category this year called Box Office Achievement, and it's all of the...
What?
You just fully went through it, went past
sorry.
it.
Sorry.
Beethoven. So it's like all of the... I think this is a cheap category. I don't understand why they're doing it.
What does that
How
mean?
is that even an achievement? They can't help it. You know what I mean?
I bet they're trying to like award people because it's like, oh, like they're so afraid that like movies and theaters are going to go out of business and stuff that they're like, we need to award people for like bringing people to the movies.
Well, and they feel bad for Deadpool and Wolverine because they're obviously not going to get nominations.
Dumb? I don't even remember Alien Romulus coming out.
It was huge when it came out. So these are like the biggest movies of the year.
Yeah. That's like a blip in my...
I guess Moana 2 is not on there. Huh.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm just joking. But Wicked is nominated. So another notable thing is that Wicked has a lot of nominations. That got nominated for Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy, obviously.
Okay.
And then Ariana Grande, first Golden Globe nomination.
Wow. Congrats to her.
I kind of suspect she'll win, actually. Well,
Yeah.
I gotta see the category.
I forgot that Pam Anderson was in a movie
The
this
Last
year.
Showgirl.
That's crazy. There's Timothee Chalamet.
Okay,
Coleman
the
Domingo?
best. No, I want to see Sing Sing because I love Coleman Domingo so much.
He's in a new show recently. I forget the name of it. It came out, but it has amazing reviews.
A show that Coleman Domingo's in?
Yeah.
I don't know. But this category is stacked. Best performance by a male actor in a drama. It's Adrian Brody, Timothee Chalamet, Daniel Craig, Coleman Domingo, Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
Ray Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes.
I think it's Rafe. That's how people
Really?
pronounce. Yeah. And then Sebastian Stan.
Beethoven Fine.
I swear it's Rafe. I swear.
I'm kidding. I joke.
Imagine if I am wrong and everybody's like, it's Ralph, you idiot.
I gotta look up that show. He was in Lincoln? I didn't know that.
He was.
Yeah.
Everybody was in Lincoln. Oh my God.
It's called The Madness.
Every second I find out that an actor was in Lincoln. Jeremy Strong was in Lincoln.
What? I've never even seen it. Maybe I should watch it.
Adam Driver was in Lincoln.
What?
Yes.
I could see him playing Lincoln. Like in like 30 years, you know? He would make a good Lincoln. No, it's a show called The Madness. It just came out, and it basically, people have said it's amazing. Really? That it's really well written, and I think it's on Apple TV maybe. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I'm excited. Like, the Golden Globes, I actually don't usually pay attention to, but now that we have this podcast that you all are listening to, let's...
I love the Golden Globes, because it contains both movies and TV.
If you were a professional actor, what award besides the Oscars would you be like, this is my crowning achievement?
Probably like a BAFTA.
Wow, yeah, BAFTA. I always forget about those British BAFTAs.
The British Academy. So again, I was going to say about A Real Pain, because we saw that. It got a lot of like Jesse Eisenberg was nominated, and Kieran Culkin, obviously.
The thing is, I can see why Jesse Eisenberg was nominated, but he does play like the same role.
I know, and I think he's good. I mean, that scene at the table when he's like crying and talking about Kieran Culkin's character, I was like, wow, he is really good. And I think he's
played that role 15 times, so of course.
But no, but I mean, like, emotional. I don't feel like he's usually like that emotional.
I think he was. Like, I watched Fleischman in Trouble, and he was the star of that with Claire Danes as his wife, and I think he was pretty emotional.
I remember when that came out.
In that, it was very good.
Really? Well, I'm glad that movie got nominated, because the movie got nominated too. So these are like usually pretty good indicators of what are going to be the Oscar nominees. Yeah. So it's interesting to see. Glenn Powell is nominated for Hitman, which is interesting.
Interesting.
I never saw it.
It actually got really good reviews. Which is crazy, because I think we shit on it a lot, because it looked stupid.
I didn't shit on it. I just kind of, like, don't care about Glenn Powell in general. Not for any reason. I just kind of just don't care. I'm, like, curious to see Selena Gomez in this movie, Emilia Perez, because I'll just be honest, I don't think acting is, like, where her talent lies. So she's nominated. I love her as, like, a person. But I've seen a lot of people say, like, she's not deserving of it. Like, it's just interesting. But she actually won an award at, I think it was, like, some awards. Like, the Venice Film Festival. I think she won something. But she, actually, there was a video she posted of her finding out that she was nominated, which would be very exciting. That, like, for acting. Like, that's crazy. But I didn't know Isabel Rossellini was in Conclave. Yeah. Wow. Look at her. I was kind of surprised that she got nominated, actually, because her role isn't very prominent. And her acting didn't really, like, particularly stand out to me. Whereas, like, Ray Fiennes, like, obviously he would, like, I get that. But best score, I know. Zimmer. Okay, first of all, also Challengers did get a lot of nominations. Zendaya's nominated, and Challengers is nominated, so. I think Zendaya in the next 5 years will probably win an Oscar for something. Yeah, I mean, she's already won an Emmy, so I feel like she's, you know, she's pretty successful. She's on her way to an EGOT. She's got the E. Just needs the rest. Just needs the... But... Got... Yeah. Okay, yeah, so... That was exciting. Are there any particular ones that... I know you're very excited about Wicked and, like, wanting it to be nominated. Oh, am I? You said, like, last week you hope Wicked gets a lot of nominations. I do think it gets... I hope it gets a lot of nominations because it was good, but it's not the way I felt like how Barbie was, where I was like, I feel impassioned. I was just like, this is good. This should get a lot of nominations. Whereas Barbie, I was like, this is new and different and phenomenal, and why aren't we recognizing it? Because we only recognize boy shit. You know what's crazy, though, is, like, I didn't even... So I'm paying attention to, like, what movies got nominated, but I didn't even really see TV. I saw, like, for comedy, like, The Bear is nominated, obviously, but, like... and Hacks and, like, just kind of the normal stuff. But, like, I didn't really see, like, dramas. I didn't really recognize any of the shows, or I didn't watch any of them. There's, like, The Diplomat. I haven't watched that. Oh, The Diplomat is very good. I've seen it. Once again, I was talking to a friend of the pod, Megan, where she, like... have you... The Day of the Jackal? I haven't heard of that. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was very good. Squid Game was good. Shogun. Okay, okay. Wait, that's for the new Squid Game? Has that even come out? The new season? I mean, it can't be the first season. Yeah, so. I can't. So I guess it's for the next season, because it'll probably be out by the time the Golden Globes are out. It might be out internationally. I don't know. Oh, okay. Interesting. But I think it was you, and when after the podcast last week, I was like, do I watch too much TV? I'm looking at this category. I'm like, I've seen all of these. Except for Slow Horses, which is on my list. Comedy, I actually have seen, I feel like, most of them. Like, Abbott Elementary, The Bear, and Only Murders in the Building. Like, that I think is a really good category. I just feel like drama, I'm not... So I've also seen all of these in comedy as well. Yeah. I don't do anything with my life. I'm kind of in a slump with the drama, though, because I feel like I don't... And then one thing I was gonna say I'm really excited about is The Penguin has a lot of nominations. Which,
I expected
as we know,
I expected to.
Yeah, and then I didn't even see Monsters was nominated. That's okay. Cool. And Ripley's nominated. Baby Reindeer.
Ripley needs to win. Ripley
deserves. And I saw
that was art.
Was Andrew Scott nominated? I saw Dakota Fanning was nominated. So I'm torn on that one because I feel like Colin Farrell was unrecognizable. Mm-hmm. I am glad. So I was saying earlier, like Cooper Koch. I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah. Cooper K.
He played Eric Menendez.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. I feel like it's a pretty good, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were coming out, and I love awards season, so I just had to talk about it.
I do too. I can't wait for the
Oscars?
Fashion.
Oh.
Also, yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for the fashion too.
Yeah.
I feel like the fashion hasn't really wowed me in a while though. I remember last year just like not being that excited over.
I kind of love the VMAs fashion, but I feel like the VMAs fashion is where people can experiment.
Different. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more.
Yeah. But anyways, so on to our next topic, we should say a trigger warning for sexual abuse and sexual assault. But as you may or may not have heard, I think this happened literally today, the news was released. Jay-Z has been accused in a civil lawsuit of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old in the year 2000, in association with the lawsuits that are happening with P. Diddy that we have also covered in a past episode. Mm-hmm. So basically, if you don't know, it'd be crazy if you don't know, but P. Diddy has been accused of it's 30 different allegations of various sexual and physical abuse of various different people. And this is actually, I think the name was kind of hidden before on this accusation, but it was revealed today that it was Jay-Z who was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl with P. Diddy in a lawsuit that was filed on, I think it was Sunday. And Jay-Z has denied the allegation and accused the lawyer who
calling it blackmail.
Yeah, he's saying it's blackmail. So the allegations are very interesting because, again, they're tied in with P. Diddy, which I think is going to be the fall of Hollywood a little bit. I think a lot of people are going to be taken down with him. Mm-hmm. But basically they're saying that it happened during an after party following the MTV Music Awards in New York in the year 2000. And so, the lawsuit was initially, an anonymous person was named, but now they've, announced that it was Jay-Z, and...
So, is this the video that the one lawyer who said that she saw the video and she said it was, a huge name? Is this the video she's referring to?
It might be. I don't know.
Okay, because
I think
she said it was, a huge, household name. Probably, she said more famous than P. Diddy, and so a lot of people were kind of guessing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people did guess Jay-Z, and I'm not really sure why, where that originated from.
Because they've been friends for a long time.
And I know, and he and Beyonce had been at, the parties and stuff.
And, they were photographed. They were, buddies.
Yeah.
And they hadn't really said anything on, all the P. Diddy stuff, which is, I think it was a little bit suspicious if it's, you were a good friend of, 20-plus years, this comes out and you don't really, say anything because you know heads are going to be turning towards you. And I think, it just makes you look guilty.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like probably is. But whether it is or not, it's going to make you look worse. But basically, the lawsuit is saying that she arrived at the party and she drank a drink that made her feel woozy and lightheaded, and that then Jay-Z proceeded to rape her. Jay-Z has called the claims idiotic, which is interesting. And he said that he comes from a world where he protects children, and he denies the allegations. He's pleaded not guilty. And he is also, so the person who came out with the allegations is actually kind of crazy. His name is Busby. He filed the claim, and so he basically sent a letter to Busby, who is the person who filed the claim, and he was saying that, he had been seeking a settlement, and Jay-Z said, "It made me expose you for the fraud that you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny." And a red penny basically means it's a small amount of money that is supposed to be meaningless.
So Busby is the attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's just interesting basically claiming that it is blackmail, and he's saying that it's not true. He's denying all the allegations. And it's interesting. Like, I'm just curious to see what comes out of this. I want to do more research, but I think it's not a surprise to me because, again, like, I thought something was going to come out on on Jay-Z or Beyonce or what have you, because, again, they had been friends. So, and they had been close friends, you know? Yeah. So it's just...
But it still was, like, surprising to see the news. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you. But it's interesting. I just saw, like, that he said, you know, he hit in a statement, he was like, Beyonce and I, like, he's denying the allegations and saying Beyonce and I will have to sit our children down, you know.
And talk to them about it.
And I thought about it, too. And I thought about it today, actually, that, like, the first person I actually thought about was Blue Ivy, because... Yeah. She's an actress too. Like, she's in the new, like, Lion King movie that's coming out. And I was thinking about her, and I'm just like, imagine, like, that, you know, and she's, like, such a, like, she seems like she's, like, growing into her own like person, and, you know, I don't really know. I know you saw her, I guess. She's, like, obviously getting opportunities from her parents, but I do think, I mean, sounds like she might have, like, inherited their talent and stuff. And so I was thinking about her. I'm like, imagine being, I don't know how old she is, but I think she's, like, a teenager, right?
Yeah, I think she's, like, 12 or 13.
And so imagine being her and, like, finding out that your dad maybe did that and is being accused of that. Just, like, imagine the situation.
She's 12. Yeah, and the thing is, it's, like, I don't want to say the perfect age, because it's, like, the worst age, where it's, like, you are acutely aware of, like, you know what these words and these things mean, as opposed to, like, when you're younger, maybe it kind of goes over your head.
And they can easily, like, shield you from the news, whereas, like, she's 12. She's probably is
going to know. She probably goes to school. Yeah. She's going to know.
It's just horrifying.
And so I hope that, I hope that it's not true, but I don't know, like, I don't know what the evidence is right now.
I'm just going to be honest, I don't think it's not true based on how many outlets are reporting it. Like, I don't think they can just... It's coming from somewhere. But I do think, like, I also thought, I'm just like, imagine doing that and then having a 12-year-old daughter and seeing her at that age and just, like, if it's true, I'm not, like, okay, it is alleged, but, like, I'm just saying, imagine that. Like, that's just so horrifying.
I know. It's awful for their family. It's awful for, like, the fans. It's just...
But if it's true for him to have done that, and then, again, like, seeing, like, you have a 12-year-old daughter and seeing, like, and thinking about what you did. Like,
yeah.
That's just...
And I also can't imagine, like, the past few weeks or months, ever since P. Diddy got arrested, like,
the anxiety,
like, sweating bullets. Because the thing is, you know it's gonna come out.
Right.
It all always comes out.
And then what's that conversation like with Beyonce? Like, how much did she know? You know?
Well, people, like, before this happened, there have been, like, a lot of insinuations that, like, Jay-Z was involved in this and that Beyonce, like, knew about it.
Well, there's, again,
like, I don't have any information. I can't confirm any of that. But
yeah,
it's gotta be tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing where there was, like, somebody who was watching, and so people, like, say that it was, like, her. Like, it's just, there's a lot of, like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which we don't know that.
How would you feel if all of that... I know you're obviously a huge Beyonce fan. I don't know if you're a Jay-Z fan, but...
Yeah, I love Jay-Z.
I'm a fan of his music, and so
I saw them together live. And and that's what I was saying to you when we got here. I was like, it sucks because all these, like, famous artists have done awful things. It sucks that they've done awful things, but it's also just, like, this takedown, I feel like it's going to be like, wow, I can't have, like, associations with, like, the music and the movies and etc. from, like, things that I grew up with without, like, the association of these horrible things that these people have done. And it's not to, like, say, like, oh, like, we should forget what have done, but I'm just saying, like, it impacts, like, the people they've done it to directly, and then the ripple effects into the world. Like, it's just such a, I don't know, it's just awful all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure more news will come out in the next few days about that, but just wanted to give a little update. But again, I think, like, Jay-Z, he is probably, like, the biggest name besides P. Diddy to be, like, associated with this.
What's the most that can happen with Jay-Z, though? Because if it's, like, past a certain time, can he even be, like criminally
I don't know. Charged? I don't know if it's past that time.
So I do wonder, other than, like, a lawsuit, what else could happen? You know, I'm just curious.
Let's see.
Like, how much will this, like, affect him?
Okay, I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head because Google is awful. But, I don't know. I think, like, he's gonna be sued, but if anything, it's gonna ruin his reputation and his career forever. As it should. Yeah. If it's true, if he did it, it should.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. And that's the thing. Like you said, I love Beyonce. If Beyonce is involved in some shitty shit, then I'd be like, okay, yeah. Like, she's a person, so I can recognize that she probably did bad things. Like, I wouldn't...
She's another one I've just always seen as, like, so mysterious. Like, it's interesting to me when people don't do interviews ever. And I'm not saying they should, but there is something always kind of ominous to me about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying, like, I think it's kind of, in some ways, I think it's good when people are really private, but I also think there's something just, like, a little bit, like, what is it that you're hiding, you know? But, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think some celebrities are just private, and I don't know if it's, like, associated with that, but...
Yeah, I know.
It's just interesting.
Right.
But, so, to talk about another person in the media, this is not, like, a necessarily super new story. I think, you know... The thing is, I heard about this when it happened, like, I think it was last year. So Wendy Williams has been diagnosed with dementia, but previously she had been diagnosed with something kind of similar with, like, a cognitive impairment type of thing. And this past year they, like, said for sure it's dementia. Mm-hmm. So in new documents, Sabrina E. Morrissey, the former talk show host, court-appointed guardian, claimed that Wendy Williams has become cognitively impaired, permanently disabled, and legally incapacitated. Yeah. And I believe she's about 60 years old. So she has definitely been confirmed with dementia, which is why, you know, we haven't really seen a lot from her in the press lately. But this update on her health kind of comes out around the time that there's this legal battle going on with A&E, because they have a docuseries called Where's Wendy Williams? Thank you. Where is Wendy Williams? And it's supposed to be about, like, her like, guardianship, her health diagnosis, and everything that happened after the Wendy Williams show, of which, if you don't know, she hosted for years. And so in this filing with the TV show, the series, it's claimed that the series filmed without a valid contract, released without the guardian's consent. So basically they're alleging that, Wendy Williams maybe just wasn't, like, cognitively aware enough to sign a contract to say that she could do this, and the guardian at the time was also not, like, signing it, and so it claims that they took advantage of Wendy Williams when she was in a highly vulnerable state, when she was clearly incapable of consenting to being filmed, much less humiliated and exploited. And I believe that's from the claim. So A&E released, like, a kind of separate counterclaim against Morrissey, who is, again, her former guardian, and they said that neither Williams, Morrissey, or anyone else from their team ever attempted to stop production of the documentary, and they said there was no effort to terminate the talent agreement, and there was no ever claim that Williams' signature on the talent agreement was not authentic. So all of that has kind of been swirling around. In addition to that, Wendy Williams' sister came out and said that she basically was like, I didn't even know that her medical state was like this until I saw it in the news. Yeah. And I don't know what their relationship is like. I couldn't really find a lot of information about it, but she basically was, like, released a statement saying, like, condemning the show as well, and saying, like, you shouldn't be taking advantage of people who are, like, she clearly, I think she's had dementia for longer than we have known about.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when she passed out on TV. Do you remember that? When she had that, like, weird, like, fainting spell? And I don't know if that's related in any way, but I do remember that was kind of, like, that was, like, really weird. She had, you'll have to look it up later. If you haven't seen it, it's an episode of her show where she's literally dressed as, like, Lady Liberty for some reason, and she's talking, and she's completely normal, and then all of a sudden she just, like, has, like, this scariest look on her face. She's, like, looks like she's in shock. She's like, and then just, like, falls. And it was, like, so scary. And she, like, it's like she fainted, but I've never seen somebody faint like that. It was like she had, like, almost this, like, weird, like, I don't know. I've just, again, like, I've never seen someone look like that before they pass out. So I think, I don't know if it was related, but I have a feeling it was related to her health issues. But, I mean, this would be considered, like, early onset dementia, right? Because she's only 60.
I believe so. I don't know if it's definitely earlier than you see, but I don't know, like, medically wise, if you consider it early onset.
Just, it's
but
interesting.
I believe so. And you know, it's just sad because also, like, I always watch, like, these compilations on TikToks of, like, pop culture moments, and Wendy Williams is, like, always in, like, 3 out of 10 of them or whatever. Of just, like,
she's hilarious. She was such... She, like, I could sit here and tell you my top 10 favorite Wendy Williams quotes. Like, she is so...
Give us 3.
Okay. My favorite is... Well, I love when the video of her on The Masked Singer. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
It's not really a quote, but I love when she's on The Masked Singer because she sings, like, native New Yorker, and it's, like, it's the funniest thing ever. But, I just love all her, like, I just saw a compilation of her Clap If videos. Have you ever seen that? Oh, yeah. Clap If You Care. And then my favorite's probably when she goes, when she's like, oh, well, things could be worse. And she's like, no, not really. Yeah. This is the worst. And her producer's always funny. He's like, this is the worst. And she's like, yeah. And then also I love when she's like, when she's, she does the one where it's like, she's talking and then she goes, what was that? James.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I also love the one, it's just like a clip where she's like, guess who's jealous of
Adele?
Beyonce. And everyone's like,
yeah. Her audience, that was the best part, is like her audience was just as messy as her.
I bet it was so fun to go to a Wendy Williams show.
One of the craziest ones she ever, and I can't remember the exact, she's talking about Samantha from Sex and the City, right? Mm-hmm. Like Kim Cattrall. She's talking about Kim Cattrall, and she's just like, you think it's just like she's talking about Kim Cattrall, and she goes, her brother she starts talking about how, like, her brother died. Like, it's just like so random. Like, it's just the cut is so dramatic and just like messy, and she was just like, she
truly was unfiltered.
She was unfiltered, and also she did something that I just feel like a lot of people just can't do the same way that she did. It seemed like she was just having a conversation with you as a friend. And I feel like
even when she's talking to, like, there's no one sitting next to her, it's just like she's talking straight to the audience.
You. Yeah. Like, she'll, like, the clap if, like, or they're so funny.
Yeah.
And there's no one like her. I do think it's interesting because it's interesting hearing you talk about the A&E docu-series, because all the stuff that they're her team is claiming, and it's interesting. I'm not making a comment, but one thing you could argue is that she has done this her entire career to people, is basically spill their tea and just gossip about them and give them no privacy or respect, there is a funny video of her. Another one that I always see in compilations is when she's like crying in her car. I don't know what like TMZ is filming her or something, and she's like, I would ask you to give me some privacy and respect, but please, like, I don't give that to other people or something.
Yeah,
it's
that's
really,
a good
like,
one.
at least she knows that. But
she seems like she was like the realest person.
She was like, and all she wants, she's just gossiping.
Yeah.
And, like,
she was the original certified yapper.
Exactly. And she's so funny. There's just, she's from Jersey. Like, she just has that, like, I love, like, the denial is a river. Your husband is gay.
Yeah.
Like, she's just so funny.
I love her. I think she got her start on radio.
She did, yeah. She has a lot of feuds with people, but she doesn't hold back about it. Like, she loves to talk about it.
But so it's sad to see her like this. And also reminds me of, this was, almost 10 years ago now. It reminds me of, do you remember a podcast came out about Richard Simmons called Missing Richard Simmons? And it was actually the podcast that, like, got me into podcasts. It was a huge podcast. Really? And it was a whole thing about how, like, Richard Simmons, like, he was a huge, like,
and then he just went, like,
in your face, like, personality. And then he just, quote unquote, went missing. Yeah. And people have said, like, it was basically around the time it was, like, multiple people in his life had passed away. His dog died. And also, like, he had been on as a TV personality for, like, 40 years. And he just kind of was like, I'm not really about it anymore. Like, I just don't want to. I don't need to. I have the money, like, whatever. And I feel like it's the same thing where, like, even, like, that podcast came out where they were basically, like, being intrusive and kind of, like, being like, where is he? Where is Richard Simmons? To, like, the people that know him. Yeah. And it's like, he just wants, like, peace, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like the same thing, like, for Wendy Williams, where it's literally called Where is Wendy Williams? And it's like she's suffering from, like, a health issue.
But I'm curious, like, who originally signed off on the video or on the show? So, I mean, somebody had to have I don't know. It's interesting. I do remember I did see a clip from that show, and it was actually really sweet. Black China came on. Oh. And, like, notoriously, Wendy Williams had always talked bad about her, kind of like, you know, would sort of like, I don't know if they necessarily had a feud, but she would always talk about her on her show. And it was kind of nice because she came on and she was being so nice to her. And they had actually become, like, friends over the years, even though, like, Wendy Williams had kind of, like, always, like, talked about her and stuff. Yeah. Like, they ended up becoming, like she was, like, there for her on the show. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird that she was, like, now that I know the show's, like, the weird things behind the show, maybe it's not. But I thought it was nice in the, like, when I saw the clip. And maybe
it's not mischievous. The thing is, like, I feel like Wendy Williams can't really speak up for herself at this point.
Right, so that's what I'm saying is, like, actually somebody on her team kind of took advantage of her, it sounds like. They signed off on her being on the show.
And it's, like, the thing where, so she's been in a conservatorship or guardianship, I think, since 2022. Yeah. And it's kind of, like, it's not the same thing as Britney Spears, but it reminds me of, you just have people being a voice for you. Yeah. And in this case, it is, like, a mental and physical necessity. Yeah. But it also is just like, well, we don't know what maybe her original intentions are. Mm-hmm. Maybe she did want to do this. Maybe she was aware when she signed off of it, but maybe she wasn't. And I think, like, there's just a moral and ethical gray area there that, I mean, I don't know the answer, so. But yeah, I mean, just, like, she is the original pop culture diva. Love her.
But as a little transition, you know who's really a pop culture diva?
Do tell.
Trisha Paytas. And let me just say, this woman has lived so many lives.
Okay, can I ask, because I just had to look up who she is. I saw, like, a video of her on TikTok yesterday, like, singing songs from Wicked or whatever. Who is she? I know the name. She's
everybody.
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ. What?
I was just shifting.
I'm not kidding. That was actually the scariest moment of my life.
That was like a fucking earthquake.
That felt like an earthquake.
So sorry. Oh my God.
Okay, like, is everyone okay?
She didn't move. She's fine.
Everyone get down.
He's like,
God,
what?
that was, I don't know why that triggered me so bad.
Can you imagine I just spilled everything? I would literally
if everything just flipped over right now, I think I would stand up and leave the house.
All I did was go like this.
Okay, please.
Oh, ow. Okay, that was my thumb. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so
Trisha Paytas.
To answer your question, she is, like, literally just a pop culture icon. And I don't know another way to say that. She has lived so many lives.
Who is she?
She's okay, so she started out as, like, a YouTuber. Okay. But she is a problematic person, don't get me wrong. She has done problematic things. At one point she came out as trans. Like, she said she was a trans man. She's not. And, like, one time she was on a lot of drugs and she said she identified it as a chicken nugget. She's really been through it. Okay. And I think at some point she's done some offensive things. So there's all that. Yeah. But she's, like, kind of rebranded herself. So one thing, she's rebranded herself like a million times. But basically she was a YouTuber. As soon as she moved out to LA, she just, like, hit the ground running. She has been on so many shows. She's been on, like, America's Got Talent. At one point she's like, she can, like, read really fast or something. She's like a speed reader. I forgot what it was. It was, like, it's super crazy. She's just, like, a wild person, Alexa. Okay. I can't even explain. She has lived 1,000 lives. Yeah. And so at one point she has a podcast now that's, I think, pretty popular, but she had a podcast with, and I want to give this context because it's wild. So she had a podcast with Ethan Klein from H3, which is I used to listen to their podcast a lot, but it's actually because of her that I stopped listening to them, because he became, like, a drama channel, basically. Like, their channel became a drama channel, but he actually started a podcast with Trisha Paytas called Frenemies.
Oh, you have mentioned this before.
Yeah, and, like, they had this, like, really good, like, dynamic, because they're, like, opposites, but, like, they were very funny, but, like, she would storm off the show, like, she stormed off the show maybe, like, 4 times, like, total. Yeah. It was, like, it was pretty bad. It was, like, during COVID, it was, like, the height of their, like, show, but, like, they're enemies now, not frenemies, enemies. She actually started dating Hila. Hila is Ethan's wife. She started dating Hila's husband, Moses. They're married now. They have 2 kids. He no longer talks to Ethan and Hila. Like, they are...
Wait. She started dating her former co-host's husband.
No, her former co-host's wife's brother. So H3H3 is Hila and Ethan Klein. And then she did a Frenemies podcast with Ethan.
Okay.
So the whole drama was because she started dating Hila's brother, Moses. And Hila didn't really want to talk about it and, like, didn't want it mentioned. And that was, like, a huge fight between them. And I think that was, like, the last she was ever on the show. Okay. Was because of this fight. And she felt like he gaslighted her. And it was, like, a whole thing. And people kind of hate Ethan now. Like, but I'm just bringing this up because on Frenemies one day, she said... She like loves pop culture. Like she loves, like, you know, like she wants to be famous.
Yeah.
And she is famous, but like she one time talked about being on SNL. Yeah. And Ethan said, if you're ever on SNL, like I will cut my own arm off. Like, because it was just like kind of like, why would you be on SNL? She was on SNL this weekend. It was, when I tell you, and so when I'll clarify, like we did.
And he's in the hospital.
Yeah, I was like, grab the saw. Somebody grab the saw. Like, go ahead. But we watched the beginning of the Paul Mescal SNL.
Yeah.
And I think we watched we watched the monologue. We watched the cold open monologue.
Which I have some thoughts on that I do too. I'm going to call you out for.
Me?
Yes.
The monologue?
Because we were like, it was me, you, friend of the pod, Megan, and...
First of all, don't ever call me out. How dare you?
First of all. But it's so interesting to me that you, like, watch things, but you get secondhand,
I don't watch monologues, unless it's, like, so John Mulaney, who you were like, I'm going to
mute it. And Megan and I were like, don't mute it. But there was something else that you were watching. It was like, this was like a month or 2 ago where you were like,
was it funny? Did you laugh at it?
No, but I don't want to sit here and watch him talk on mute.
Because I got secondhand embarrassment. He's not a comedian.
It was a show or something that you watch. You were like, yeah, I watch this episode all the time, but I always mute it, like, for the cringe part. And I was like, why do you watch it?
Because I get secondhand embarrassment. And I think, like, okay, so on SNL, if they're not comedians, then it's not a funny monologue.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's really cringy to me. And I once heard SNL, I think it was John Mulaney, actually. He said when he was a writer on SNL, or maybe it was like Conan or somebody who used to be a writer on SNL said that, like, it's wild how hosts can just trust the SNL writers because they would sometimes wait until, like, the day before to write their monologues. So that's how I know that they're not very good.
Yeah.
They're usually, like, not.
Yeah.
Again, unless it's, like, a stand-up comedian who comes in and does their own, like, stand-up. Right. But usually it's not funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so don't call me out.
It's so interesting. I'm just like, you like pull up a show but you mute it.
Because I forgot about the monologue, okay? I watched the next couple sketches.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, there have been a couple things that I'm like, it's interesting to me. And it's fine. I'm not judging you for it. I'm, like, curious.
I'm about to flip this table over again.
Oh my God, please don't. I'm just curious, like, psychologically, where it's like, I love this thing, but it reminds me of, like...
Yeah, because I don't want to see somebody be embarrassed.
Interesting. But what if they say a big plot point in that, like, embarrassing moment? When you're watching, like, a show.
In an SNL monologue?
No. Like, general shows or, like, movies where it's, like...
it's often a huge issue.
Okay. You're just, like, watching it and you're just, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
You're like the woman with the meme.
But sometimes I get through it. Like, I used to not be able to watch the... Bore on the Floor scene from Succession.
Yes, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But I have gotten through that.
But what happens when you're watching, like, a show for the first time so you don't know it's going to be secondhand embarrassment?
Yeah, and it's... I mean? Sometimes if I feel it's going in that direction, I'll mute it.
Interesting.
It's not that crazy. Other people do it too. I'm sure. Okay, if you're listening to this and you sometimes mute or fast forward during cringe scenes... Let us know.
And I want to clarify.
Because I am being attacked right now.
I'm not saying it to be judgmental or, like, attacking you. Like, I genuinely just want to understand.
I'm explaining it. I get secondhand embarrassment.
Okay. It must be tough being my friend, watching me embarrass myself like 24/7.
I don't think I ever mute you or fast forward you.
Well, I'm a physical person, so I don't know if you can, but thank you, I guess. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, Paul Mescal and Trisha Paytas were on SNL.
Anyway, so we watched like the first
this is
like
the
few
last
sketches.
episode you'll ever hear. Molly quits.
It got kind of real in here for a second.
I'm just having a conversation. I'm just starting a dialogue.
Okay, but we watched the first like few sketches, but we didn't finish it. And if I had Alexa, I would have screamed. You guys would have been like, "What?" Because you would imagine my shock the next morning when I open X and see Paul Mescal. You know, at the end of SNL, like they're all on the stage and they're all thanking thank you to like whatever. And Trisha Paytas is standing on the stage, and Paul Mescal says, "Thank you, Trisha Paytas." It was one of the most shocking moments of my life. For Paul Mescal to say Trisha Paytas' name is wild to me. But I was
SNL is really the cross culture of fame.
Because now it is, because there's like Bowen Yang is on there, and he's very like pop culture, like he has a podcast, and so he is in the know, and I think other people on the show too. He's very much in the know of like pop culture, so he knows who Trisha Paytas is.
Right.
And so I think he was the one, because the sketch was, she just made a little cameo, by the way. Like it wasn't like, it wasn't, she didn't host it or something, but like she came in during a sketch and like it was in a scene with Bowen Yang. So it was like clearly he had probably brought her on. Hi. And it was just crazy. I was like so excited for her though, because I was like wow, like she's really made it.
Yeah, well, I don't know who she is, but I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for you. It is actually.
I like that she seems to have really like pulled herself together. I hope she's in a good place, because I feel like she's often not.
Yeah.
Or at some point she wasn't, and
It is actually, sorry if you can hear my dog panting. It is actually quite an interesting experience when it's like, not that Trisha Paytas is like a small time person, but I feel like you've probably followed her since she was like a little bit more small time. And then you like follow a person's career as they get bigger and bigger.
But I've never thought of her as getting bigger and bigger. Like, you know what I mean? So it was just like, that's why it was so shocking to see her on there, because I was just like, what? You're a YouTube, like you're not that kind of famous. Like, there's like YouTube famous.
I mean, there's a TikToker on SNL now.
I know, and
so
is it that
the internet is the internet is genuine fame now.
That,
which is both, I think, good and bad, because we're opening doors for people who maybe have been misrepresented or would not have gotten their shot or their foot in the door. But also sometimes it's like, now everyone's famous.
And I'm not like knocking having TikTok people on SNL, because if they're funny, then they're funny. But I've seen Jane on there, and
everyone says she's not funny.
Wouldn't.
Actually,
like,
maybe I've only talked to you about this, and I'm saying it's everyone.
I know.
But
I'm often everyone.
Yeah, that is true. But it also reminds me of that line from The Incredibles where the son goes, "Well, if everyone's special, no one is," or something like that.
It's true. I think about that with TikTok a lot, because I'm like, well, people are just making themselves famous now, which I think is a good thing. I think in some ways it's like a very interesting thing that people can kind of make themselves famous just by posting a video.
Right.
But then I'm like, ugh, if like everybody's famous now, then what is fame?
It's even like, so one of our old coworkers, well, your current coworker, her sister posted a video that went viral where it was like she was crying and her cat smacked her in the face. This happened like 2 or 3 years ago. I was looking at this influencer who I love his like pet videos, and her video was on there, and I was like, oh,
she was on Ellen, I think. Like they showed her video on Ellen. And actually, so who we're talking about is our friend Carly, who I currently work with, but she was the one I texted her immediately this morning, and I was like, or no, the other morning, yesterday morning, whatever. What is today? I don't even know. I was like, because I was like, who do I text about this? Like, about Trisha Paytas being on SNL, so I texted her, and she was like, I've already sent you TikToks about it. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, again, I can't get over this, that she was on SNL. That's huge. So.
I'll have to go watch the skit.
I didn't even watch it. That's like how, like, I didn't even watch it.
That's actually funny.
But
that's
again,
very mean.
I got like nervous for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I got nervous. So I think that's what it is sometimes.
To
answer your question, I think I just get nervous for people.
There is nothing worse. I think comedy is the worst place to like fail at, because you can fail at drama and it's just like, okay, they were a bad actor. But like comedy, if you fail at comedy and it's like you're there to do comedy and you suck at it, for some reason I feel like that is the worst form of embarrassment.
But do you know what? Here, my theory with that is, like, I think it's really easy for comedians to be, not easy, but I think that's why, like, comedians can be really good dramatic actors, but I don't necessarily think it can be, like, the other way around. I don't think dramatic actors can always be funny, and that's why SNL sometimes does cringe me out, because, like, when they're trying to tell jokes, they're trying to be funny, sometimes I'm like, no. And I saw some of Paul's sketches, like, there was the Gladiator one, where he was, like, wicked and Gladiator, whatever,
that was good.
And it was fine. I think, but what was the first one, the tattoo one? That was, like, not funny. What was the one where they found out he was a tattoo?
Yeah, it was like he was a kid at the table with his parents, and they were like, oh, take your hat off, and they were like, you have earrings?
Oh, earrings. Okay, I was kind of tipsy by the time we were watching that, but anyway.
It wasn't funny, even if you were sober. Yeah.
And and that's why I guess I get, like, nervous, like, during the monologue. Like, I get nervous seeing people, like, trying to be funny. I was, like, talking through the whole thing because I was like, I don't want to listen to this.
One of my favorite, like, SNL guests is comedian Nate Bargatze. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
I don't know him.
He is one of the funniest. My mom and I saw him live. He is one of the funniest comedians. He's the one that does the SNL sketch where it's like they're all in the, like, Revolutionary War.
I know. I just remember. He did a second part to it recently, didn't he?
Oh, really? I think so. And I'm just like, he is a very funny guy. He's, like, one of my favorite comedians of all time. I think he's hilarious.
I remember I don't find that sketch funny. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I think his stand-up is really good. And it's really good because it's also, like, it's not, like, dirty, like, comedy, which is very rare to find this day. Like, you know, my mom and I went to go see it, and it was like, this is genuinely funny, and I'm not, like, uncomfortable.
That's why I've always loved John Mulaney, too. He's just, like, he's, like, classy funny.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gotten a little bit edgier, but not, like, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's so funny.
Yeah, but who would you want to see on SNL?
I think we talked about this. I would love to see, like, Florence Pugh on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
I don't necessarily know if
we did talk about this. I was tipsy at this point.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't know if she would even necessarily be, like, super funny. But, okay, what I was going to say earlier is I think what works well is when actors are dramatic. So there's Please Don't Destroy on SNL.
Yeah.
The group. So they did a sketch with Paul Mescal, and, like, the whole thing was, like, he became their dad.
Yeah.
And it was, like, this whole thing. And it was very funny. And it was because, like, he was, like, dramatic acting in it. And I think, like, it's why I always love, like, Adam Driver on SNL, because he just, like, acts his ass off. Like, he is not even reading the cue cards. He's literally just acting like he's in a movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, that is where people really thrive in comedy, is, like, when they take it seriously.
Yeah.
And so I love seeing, like, actual good actors on SNL.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, I would love to see, like, Florence Pugh or somebody. I'm trying to think who hasn't been on there. I feel like
has Chappell Roan been on there in terms of, like, being in a sketch?
No, but I can't imagine how awkward that would be.
I don't know if she would be good at it, but
no, you would want to see her.
I'm not saying I would want to see her. I'm just curious.
She was the musical guest when John Mulaney hosted, but I don't know.
I have no idea who I would want to see. I want to see more Ariana Grande. I want her to become a cast
really
regular. But
that's because she's a theater kid. Like, she comes from theater, and I think, like, that really shows when she's on SNL.
Yeah,
like,
for
I'm
sure.
like, oh yeah, she's actually funny.
Yeah, she's a funny person. But anyways, that's all we had for you this week. Lots of pop culture. Molly has stopped her chihuahua shaking. She's gotten it out of her system.
Yeah, now I'm mad.
Like,
now I'm chihuahua angry shaking.
Oh, well, pray for me, everyone.
We're going to have a little talk after this. I'm just kidding.
Oh, we're going to have a little taco. I've made tacos. Well, I'm going to make them. It'll take 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. This is Poppin In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Alexa.
Poppin' Knuckles.
Wow.
You're Alexa, and I'm Molly.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It took me a second to realize what you said.
Yeah.
But that's accurate.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for listening. As always, like, rate, and review. Follow us at Poppin' In Podcast on Instagram, but follow us also on wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next week. Bye!